Hi, everybody. Welcome to Infinite Horizon. We are here with our 16th episode.
Yeah.
I
I know.
know it should at some point stop surprising me because, it surprises me one week and then the next week it's one more. So, like
Mhm.
you'd think that, but no,
It'll always be surprising.
it'll always be surprising.
Creating content is a startling
It's very
experience.
weird. Anyway, hi everybody. So first and foremost, um unfortunately, we will not be joined by Olivia tonight as she is feeling a little under the weather and thought it would be best to opt out of this one. So, Olivia, who is theoretically watching, we miss you and
Feel better.
feel better soon. But on a similar note, we also have with us our very first guest player for Infinite Horizon, Lily. Lily, hello.
Hi guys, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm
Yeah,
really excited.
thanks
I'm
for
no,
being.
I'm
I'm
excited.
gonna be pumped. Yeah.
Yeah, so we met Lily at Gen Con and we've been
Rip Gen Con.
yeah, we've been itching for an opportunity to continue playing games together and well, here we are. So
Woo.
um
And we
yeah.
get to bust out this new overlay that is almost the same as the old overlay, just slightly different.
it it is no, it's funny. The thing about the overlay, right, is it is criminal how like not particularly noticeable the differences are for how much we went through to get there.
Get here, yeah. Cannibalized the old overlay to make this one.
Yeah,
This
it
is
is
my beautiful Frankenstein.
absolutely.
It-
So, but anyway, yes. So, thanks, Lily, for being here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I think for the sake of this, we're just gonna go ahead and get started, unless anybody can think of anything that they directly want to. No, okay. I will
Let's
because
boogie.
I can't wait. But just a reminder, these exist.
Yes.
Infinite Horizon shirts. You can get them now at the merch store. It's
Mine is hypothetically in the mail, and I hope I receive it soon.
Same here.
yeah,
They're very comfortable.
they're
I have to
they're very
say.
nice. Yours might take a bit to get to you, and you may not get a shipping confirmation because I didn't. Mine just sort of showed up one day. So
Surprise.
surprise. Anyway,
So it goes right now
yeah.
everywhere.
All right, let's get this show started. How about that?
Yes.
All right.
Some will say this is the end. We're surrounded, but we won't give in. No. Who will save us? Who will save us? Sometimes you gotta let go. Leave it up to the hero. Who will save us? Who will save us? When the truth's in the shadows, all hail to the heroes. They're gonna save us. Yeah, save us. Yeah, save us today.
And we're back. Sorry, that took me a second because I accidentally I unmuted everybody and then I remuted them, so so we're good now. Everybody should be audible now.
Silence, players.
Yeah. All right. Well, previously on Infinite Horizon. Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
Dark Roulette, thanks for the follow. Thank you so much. All right. I'm going to move away from paying attention to OBS and the chat, so hopefully everything goes smoothly. Yep, we're good. Sorry, we had such a stressful beginning to this stream that I had to double check that we weren't dropping frames, which we are not. So it's just my own paranoia. Anyway, previously on Infinite Horizon, having discovered the traitor amongst their group as their very own doctor, Abriel, there were a lot of conversations that took place in the aftermath of that whole stressful event in space, most of which centering around what to do now that Abriel has been revealed to be working for Silverbreak. There were a lot of really great character moments, most of which I will not do them the injustice of attempting to summarize them here. But when it came down to it, the crew eventually decided that they would try to, given that what they had learned about Abriel and the leverage that Silverbreak had over her in the form of her sister being held for captive, basically, the crew decided that the best course of action might be to give Abriel a chance to break away from her corporate shackles by offering to assist in the rescue of her sister eventually. Now, that conversation mostly got left off with Abriel actually accepting, at least being willing to try, and with her starting to draw up some ideas and everything, basically take down everything she knows about the location her sister is being held. But in the meantime, as repairs were finished on Awakener, the crew proceeded with their original assignment, which was to rendezvous with a once well-known and noteworthy professor of archaeology, of exoarchaeology, one Alessander Tanoriss, on a backwater world in the Boderworlds region of the galaxy, where upon arrival they met with Dr. Tanoriss, who seemed to take, after a little bit of reminder, realized who these newcomers were, and asked for their help, stating at the very end, "How much experience do you have with pirates?" So that's where we left off. We'll pick up exactly right there in that moment, as Tanoriss sort of looks expectantly, sort of wide-eyed between all of you.
Would Bina have actually had any experience with avoiding pirates at the very least? Like, that would be
very
if
likely.
anything.
Very likely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I would say that the chances of that are very high.
Space trucker versus pirates.
I'd watch that movie. He sort of looks around. None? Some?
A little bit, maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
Well,
Experience avoiding them. Not so much 1v1
I see.
conversationalist.
Well, as it turns out, it's actually not avoiding them that I have need of your help with. Sit down. I have. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And he finishes clearing off some seats and settles himself down before frowning and looking around. Says, "Would any of you care for some tea?"
Yes, please.
Tea.
Sure. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
All right. He stands up and begins bustling around the room, mostly muttering to himself, like as he's going about making tea. At one point, probably also maybe speaking to the kettle, but it's hard to tell. It's difficult to hear. As you all are sort of left to sort of look around the room, you see a number of artifacts. Actually, you know what? Olim and Bina, you would recognize some of the technological artifacts that he has sort of mounted on the wall in some places, or in some cases even just sort of on a table.
Just hanging out.
Just yeah, like on a table on top of like several like hand sketches of them, with notes drawn on, or notes written on the sketch themselves, and you would recognize these as being remarkably similar to in the design of the technology to the conduits.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Is he still in the room?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a very small place. Like it's pretty
Okay,
much
I
it's,
just didn't know if he
it's like a studio apartment kind of place. It's yeah.
How did you get your hands on these? And she's kind of like has her face like really close to some of them on the table.
He looks up and says, "Huh? What's that? Yes, that's some technology that I scavenged from some of my sites. Surely you knew I was studying the Astrophel, yes?"
Does that word
Yes.
is that word familiar to us?
It
or-
would be mostly familiar to Olim.
Tina will say yes regardless.
Although that the proper name is probably only really familiar to Olim, all of you would be familiar with the concept of an ancient species that lived long, long ago, who are largely credited with the creation of the conduits.
Okay.
Who long before any of the current civilizations came to rise, had disappeared. Yeah, that's
Can you say the name of them again?
the Astrophel.
Okay, yes, but like
Says, "Oh, my apologies. I assumed that you had been fully briefed on this, on everything. Well," he kind of glances back towards the stovetop.
Wire isn't exactly chatty.
He says, "No, that was an impression that I certainly got. You there," and he kind of points to Mason. He says, "Would you mind terribly keeping an eye on the water? I don't want it to boil over. This has happened before. I accidentally started a fire last week when I got distracted with my work. But yes,
I got it.
thank you." And he steps over to where Bina is examining the ancient technology. He picks it up gingerly and looks and sort of turns it so that you can see kind of at various angles. Says, "Yes, the Astrophel. They are the species that once populated, well, frankly, as far as we are aware, more of the galaxy than we are even able to explore ourselves. They are credited with creating the conduits that we use to travel from place to place, and several of their ruins have been found on various worlds across, well, all currently explored sectors of space. And I am something of well, I wouldn't necessarily call myself an expert, but certainly someone who has dedicated a significant portion of their lives to studying them, and who, frankly, should be receiving grants for... my apologies. I have a tendency to go on. It's a bit of a sore spot, really. That's not really important at the moment, though. So I'm out here studying the civilization and trying to find out exactly the truth behind who they were, what happened to them, where they went, and all of that. And these artifacts that I believe you are aware of, yes?
Yes.
Yes, these artifacts are, I believe, to be some sort of ancient technology. Not sure exactly what it is, but I believe it to be, well, theirs. So, yes, these are some of the, well, some of the things that I've taken away from some of my excavation sites, to, well, examine, see what I can learn. As you are no doubt aware, it is terribly difficult to get one's hands on any kind of technology, even remotely related to the conduits, thanks to their guardians, the caretakers.
That's why I was intrigued, but they're not from conduits?
No, as far
These
as
are
I can
from dig
tell.
sites.
Yes, as far as I can tell, nothing here is related to the conduits other than by its origin. But But that's exactly what I'm here to find out. Everything I can.
That checks out.
Where are the cups?
He says, "Oh, right, tea." And he like walks over and he starts. He says, "Oh, just up there, that cupboard there." And yeah, the two of you kind of begin. He starts beginning to sort of set out the tea, and with Mason's help, and eventually, the two of them bring over the tray.
Smells good.
Quite. It is one of my favorites that I brought from home. Although, and he kind of like looks over at the tin. Says, "I seem to be running a little low."
Oh.
So, yes, pirates. That's where we were. Well, as you know, I've been studying these artifacts and this technology, but well, the truth is, I've never actually seen one of these artifacts. I know of their existence, and I've studied them and everything that is written about them, but I've never actually gotten my hands on one. That is, until recently, I encountered someone who was selling one of these artifacts. I frankly doubt she had any idea what it was, but I was able to secure a barter. So I am supposed to go and meet this person, and today actually, just a little over 2 hours or so, and make the exchange.
Where?
Oh, not
On
far.
planet?
Yes, yeah, not far from here.
Oh.
The thing is, I'm a little bit, I've never dealt with pirates before, and I'm not sure what to expect.
I think the trend is that you can't expect anything, so you might be on the right track.
Good, yes. Well, regardless, it would be good to have some backup.
Backup?
Yes. Just in case. And, perhaps then I can help you find, with this artifact, I can perhaps help you find some of the answers that Wire said you were looking for.
I mean, yeah, sounds like a pretty direct route to maybe more questions, but hopefully we're at least going in the right direction.
Oh, yes. The very nature of academia is questions. We really... Most would assume that it is the search for answers, but the reality is, it's often much more fulfilling to search for more questions.
I couldn't agree more, Professor.
He kind of looks at you, and he smiles, and he says, "Yes," says, "you have the look of someone who might be a bit of an academic yourself, is that correct?"
I'm flattered. Yes, absolutely. What is it now? 11 years at the University of Anzalon III?
Says, yes. Says, "A career student. Excellent. Says, I've never understood the push to leave the world of studying and academia. It's, well, quite frankly, there's so much to learn all the time. Why would we try to limit such things?"
I felt the same way. It was a rather forceful push that brought me here.
Yes, I can see that. I certainly I could say the same about myself. He says, I believe, I seem to recall, I've spoken at the university at Anzalon III, well, several times over the last century or so. Most recent time was, he kind of like seems to kind of cast around. I want to say 5 years ago, perhaps.
I say, I do recall. I remember that I couldn't make that lecture, and well, that my missing that is one of the reasons I'm happy that I get to finally meet you now.
Well, thank you. I don't often get greeted with enthusiasm so much as with vague, dismissive neutrality. He kind of like looks around, kind of like towards the door, and like looks in the direction of the town. He says, "Regardless, well, what do you think? Do you think this is something that you might be able to help me with?"
I kind of like glance at everybody, like kind of like I don't, kind of shrugging to the party, to the crew.
You look at Mason, he's just like,
I
what are you looking at? Yeah, let's go.
say,
think so.
yeah,
It's
it's
useful.
the what I know about pirates, which is all hearsay and maybe stereotypes, is that there could be some sort of ambush or double cross or some sort of danger going on here.
Yes.
In not to say that dissuades me from accompanying you. In fact, I'm happy that we can be here to offer the safety that we can. But have you spoken extensively to these people before? What do you know about them?
Well, I know they are pirates. I
Uh-huh.
know
Check.
that
Good. Yeah.
the one that I spoke with was one Captain Desiree. And she seemed like an reasonable sort, perhaps. I don't know. I didn't speak with her very much. Not beyond making the arrangements.
Well, I think as long as we're all on the same page about being wary and observant and being ready to flee when it looks like things are out of hand, then I think we're on.
Excellent.
Is it weird that I'm kind of excited? I've only ever encountered pirates in like ship v ship. Fun to meet one, huh? Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
It does serve a fascinating opportunity to, well, have a new experience.
If you don't mind my asking, what are you trading to them in return for the artifact?
Oh, currency, credits. Credits.
Okay.
Yes, I was able to.
Sorry to pry.
Oh no, it's a reasonable question to ask. So, I have a few preparations to make here. If you need some time yourselves to, well, make ready, I won't begrudge you that. You're welcome to stay, of course. I just need to gather a few things.
Is it like within walking distance, or are we taking a shuttle?
Oh, I have a some ground transportation that we can take to the location.
Oh, good.
Excellent, excellent. And he sets his tea down absently and just immediately you get the impression that in his mind there was never tea. There was no tea. He's just immediately on to the next thing as he starts like bustling around, starting to grab things and pack stuff away. Occasionally picking something up, putting it in the bag, then going, no, that's ridiculous. And he sets it back down and just starts.
I kind of look. I say, should we grab what we need from the ship and come back here?
Yeah. What do you need?
I guess I've got everything. Maybe
Yeah.
we can stay.
At this
I
point,
just turn and watch the professor
Yeah.
putter around.
Peach sort of leans forward and says, this mention of pirates has me a little nervous. I think maybe it's a good idea if I go back to the ship and stay there, just in case.
Oh.
I mean, I've heard a lot of stories about the Boderworlds, and we've only been here a couple of hours, an hour, and already they seem to be true. So maybe it's a good idea if at least one of us stays back with the ship, just in case.
Yeah, if you
Fair
want
enough.
to. No one is. Ship is currently um without any pilots because as far as I know, Alma's not linked in anymore.
Yeah. Well,
So just hang in there.
at the very least, if anybody comes on board the ship, I can always put them down for a nap.
There you go.
Hmm.
Okay,
All right. Good luck.
you too.
Be careful. And
Always. Right back
Never
at
a
you.
day in our life.
and Peach will depart, returning to Awakener. After
Olivia.
after a few more minutes, Professor Tanoriss finishes packing up and says, "Right, I think that is everything." And you see him holding like another stack of like, or another like file. So he holds it up in front and then looks around and says, "No, much too valuable." And he leaves them down. And as he sets them down, you can see this stuff as the file like flops open, and you can see a bunch of like hand sketches of like what looks like, it's hard to tell the scale of whatever is drawn, but it looks like it might be some impossibly large ruins. But it's like, again, I said it's as I said, it's difficult to tell the scale. But the mainly baffling thing here is why he thought that would be necessary on a meet with pirates. But yeah, you
Mason just does the.
Yeah.
Eyeball it.
all right. When the professor has finished making final checks, you exit the apartment following him downstairs, and this time down the opposite way, down the stairs the opposite way that you came up, towards the back of this row of buildings. And as you make your way down there, you can see what you see what is essentially a sort of it's basically, it looks like it's probably some sort of garage. It's not. It's all it is just sort of a corrugated metal canopy that is with no walls except for in one corner where there appears to be sort of a like a sheltered workspace set up, but the rest of it is open to the environment. You can see that the pylons that keep it that like the support struts on the canopy are equipped with some sort of environmental shield. Probably, given what you've seen so far, probably protection against dust storms. But otherwise, though, the sides of this place are completely open. There are several vehicles that are parked there. As he makes his way towards one, a open topped basically like hovercraft. That's
What kind of shapes it in? Bean would immediately eye that up.
it's not. Let's put it this way: it will probably go. It
Delightful.
it looks pretty dinged up, and like it has seen far more dust storms and wear than the professor has during his time here on this world, which suggests that he probably got it secondhand. And Bina, at a quick glance, there's almost no way that he paid a fair price for it.
She gets like, I think around like tech that is in like subpar condition, she gets like itchy fingers to like get in the guts and see if she can tinker with it, but she folds her all four hands in her lap and
Yeah.
sits politely.
Yeah. He moves kind of to sit in the driver's seat, and he says, "All right, now let's see. Are you going to work for me today?" And he starts like flipping switches on the dash, and then finally turns the ignition on it, and you can hear, before it starts, you can hear just this just this horrifying whine that definitely shouldn't be there. And then when it does start, it's kind of got that, like, it has that, you can hear that, like, a sort of stuttering in the repulsor engine. But then it kicks on and goes, and you can feel it as it jerks in place as he slowly pulls back out of the garage and
Is
begins.
this a vehicle with shotgun?
Yeah,
I
it
was
probably
thinking
would.
it
Yeah.
was in
'Cause-
shotgun.
I was gonna say Bina would have immediately,
Mhm.
if he
That's
like
good.
opened like the driver's side door, Bina would have climbed in before him over the console into the other side.
Just like just skittered over it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants eyes on all of this. One, again, itchy fingers. Two, a little bit of nervousness and like I can keep an eye on it better up here probably.
Yeah.
Olim's like digging around for the seat belt in like in the thing with all the like Fritos crumbs and stuff on
Yeah,
like
like-
a weird furry.
Is there
What's
like a
down there? What's in there? What
there a
are
hatch?
between the professor's
Yeah.
seats?
There's definitely. Well, I'll tell you one thing that isn't there, and that's
Search for
seatbelts.
ciphers.
Yeah,
Yes, it's
I'm like
Of course.
In the backseat pocket. We're gonna search for ciphers.
Yeah.
Mason
Um,
tries to remember the seatbelt laws and from planet to planet.
Yeah.
What can I get away with here? Yeah. So as you begin taking off across the largely barren landscape, the professor is sort of speaking, kind of yelling over the engine, and the wind kind of whipping past. He says, "And over in that direction is where my first sight is. If we have time later, I can take you there and show you some of what I've been looking at. And over in that direction, there are some very promising sights. Some of the ruins that you may have seen in my drawings. They're over that way, over just beyond those bluffs. It's
You
it's-
need an in-cabin sound dampener. Can
what?
you get one in the colony?
What?
What?
That's largely how the conversation goes.
this is great.
But eventually, you manage to you arrive, and if you recall before, you were the town that you had landed just outside of was in a large, wide basin, surrounded by bluffs, and as you now are traveling through, you're traveling lengthwise through the basin, through towards the far end of it. And as you reach that location, it kind of goes around, it kind of curves around to the left. And as you come around the corner, you can see just at the far end what looks like a lake that takes up the majority of the northernmost tip of this bluff, or of this basin. Over there, you can see, even at this distance, you can see what appears to be a single, like emergency shelter, like of the kind that are used quite often by, either those who are stranded on planet that are basically like for survival purposes that keep out a lot of environmental stuff, or quite often, but they're used by many nomadic settlers on various colonized worlds.
Is it like a big dome or is it like a
It's
cool
not-
geometric shaped?
Some of them are sort of like these big domes, but this one is one of the smaller varieties. This is one that's more intended as like individual use.
Tent.
Like, yeah, it's basically a tent, but it's sort of like it's like an environment tent where it has like yeah. So even at this distance, you can see it, and the professor points it out. He says, "That's the meat site right over there." You proceed onwards, and as you get closer, you start to be able to detect a single lone figure amongst some of the vegetation that is somewhat greener around the lake. But as you approach, the professor, probably about maybe 200 feet away, pulls up the craft, pulls it to a stop, and then powers it down. The lack of horrifying engine sounds is a massive relief to everybody.
So like when you like go are like in a convertible for a long period of time with the top down, when you stop, your ears are like
Yeah.
buzzing for like
Exactly.
a couple minutes
Everything
afterwards.
seems way too quiet. And yeah. So, as you all step out of the craft, you can see the single lone figure standing in front of the environment tent, watching your approach. Lily, would you care to describe yourself?
Sure. So you see a very tall Kildra woman. She has her hair is sort of long and gold, kind of like the Sovereign from Guardians of the Galaxy style. As you get closer, you can see her skin is marbled like Keldro, and you can see little veins of gold underneath. She is dressed outrageously. She has a very obvious like tricorn hat, like a pirate coat. Clearly not for this environment. She doesn't have anything covering her face. She looks kind of annoyed, frankly, at all the dust that's swirling around. You notice that she has a cutlass on her waist, and she's wearing one leg has a boot on. The other leg, it looks like from the knee down, has been fashioned into some sort of like cybernetic leg. But it's made to look like a peg leg, so it's a metal, but there's a clear motif going on here.
Yes.
And she's leaning up against the little encampment, and she has a flask with her, and she's looking at it like she wants to take a sip, but this is the only alcohol she has with her right now, so she's
Don't want to waste
this
it.
thing right now. So, but as you see you guys approach, she puts that away and she goes, "Professor."
You are Captain Desiree, yes?
Finally, someone remembers my name. Who are your friends?
These are... And he stops for a moment, realizing for the first time that...
We never introduced ourselves.
Associates that I brought with me for... Well, protection. You can never be too careful on some of these backwater worlds.
Bina just waves.
Oh, I think you might need a few more guys for it to be an even fight, but, you want to come in?
He turns and looks at the shelter and glances over kind of westwards where you can actually see what looks like possibly gathering dust storm. It's hard to tell. It's still too early to tell, but he kind of glances over and says, yes, I think that might be... He kind of glances to all of you. A good idea?
I'm not from here. You tell me.
Not much. What is inside?
Well, yes, I think that will be good. And as he turns to all of you, shrugs, and just starts following you.
She
Bina
opens the
is
door to it with like a
obvious.
flourish.
Bina has obvious delight on her face at this individual. She's intrigued. Just because this would be a first impression for Bina as well. Surface level emotional state for Captain Desiree. How's she feeling currently?
There is just an outrageous level of confidence, like to the point of stupidity. But there's also even on the surface, there's like some unease. You don't know if that's because she's drunk or because something else, but there's a little bit of waver to it.
Delightful. Oh, I love that. I love playing an empath. We go in.
All right. So, inside the shelter, now you can hear sort of the somewhat dulled sound of the wind outside, sort of rushing past the protected interior of the small dome. There's not much space inside, probably not more than maybe about 15 feet across at its widest point, and so it's a little tight. But as you step inside, it is immediately a relief as there is no longer sort of dust swirling around, and the rushing of the prairie winds has dulled significantly. As you step inside, the professor kind of looks around and sort of clearly nervously, just sort of holding on to his satchel and clutching it kind of by its handle, and both his hands glancing around nervously, sort of scratching at one wrist, just sort of quaint.
Right, I can't take any credit for it. Sort of like this when I found it. Do you have my payment?
I do actually. Yes, it's right. It's right here. And the artifact.
Funny, you should ask about the artifact. Actually, do you really want that old thing anyway? It's sort of it's not really useful. It just sort of sits there. Doesn't do a lot. Are you sure that's not? I can't offer you anything else, maybe.
Well,
something more useful.
No, I mean I appreciate the offer, but actually that is what I need.
Well then, I have a funny story for all of you, and I am sure we're going to laugh about it later. Well, I don't have it.
Why?
Funny, right? I'm not hearing a laugh. Tough crowd. Right, I had it at the time I spoke to you. It is no longer in my possession due to unforeseen circumstances.
I'm definitely going to analyze that. Do I hear any untruths? Non-truths? I think I might have to roll for it, but
I mean, if you think she's not she's clearly nervous. I don't know if she's telegraphing. She's clearly, what do I will say? She's clearly not saying specifics right now.
Yeah, there's not really much to analyze there, other
really
than
skirting around the topic.
Yeah.
Venus still really delighted by this whole situation, despite the fact that things have clearly just gone south. She's kind of okay, great, what?
Well, wait a minute. What happened to the artifact? What are these unforeseen circumstances? I mean,
it's all like I said, funny story. Sure, we're going to laugh about it later. Remember how I was talking to you and sort of negotiating a price for it? Turns out, despite the fact that it's not very useful, there are some other people that might have wanted it. Some people that might wanted to pay more money. Someone in the corps, and I was of course can't do that. We can't sell this out. My crew, on the other hand, had different plans. So, I might have, mutiny is such a harsh sort of word. It's not. That's what happened. I am been marooned on this planet without the crew, without my ship, and without the artifact. But I do have myself and my skills and one flask of rum.
The professor takes that in. You can see as he just sort of stands there blinking at you for a moment, and then just sits. Just sits on the nearest available surface. He just sits down immediately on it, just sort of staring, kind of clutching.
You like some?
He says, clutching. He looks up at you, and says, "Yes, I rather think I would." Takes it and just sort of hands it back. Says, "Well, this is oh no, this is terrible. This is
funny. It's funny, right? We're going to look back on this and laugh about it."
How long ago did your crew depart? Do you know where they are?
Lucas, how long ago? How long have I been on here?
It's honestly, time has
Time
been.
is, what was it? 5 hours? Was it a couple days? I don't really have much of an idea what they might be. I'm assuming they're headed to, drop off the artifacts to the new buyer, but I don't know where that might be.
It's just as a note, it is unlikely that it has been longer than maybe 3 days, but
All right. So probably not more than a few days. Probably.
I narrow my eyes and take, does this person look like they've been out here like surviving in the wilderness right outside of the town for 3 days? Like, do they look rough around the edges?
I mean, she just looks rough around the edges in general.
Yeah, it's a tough question for a fire.
It's hard to. I mean, her cloak is clearly she clearly was trying to keep it in good condition, but it's got tatters. It's like dust is everywhere. She doesn't have any equipment to, survive on a dust planet.
Right.
Clearly so.
yeah, even looking around this shelter, it looks like it's been here a lot longer than she says she's been here, and the stuff like the supplies and whatnot inside are old. They look like they're like weather worn, and yeah, it looks like this place has probably not been, like, you can actually even see places where like there's some small cracks in the environment seal, where you can still see like where basically like small aggressive plants have started to kind of push through. This shelter's been here a lot longer than she has.
Well, if we can get a lead in what direction, anything. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm starting to think that it was a very good thing all of you came along, because frankly, I'm not even sure what to do next.
Well, I can only speak for myself, but I think finding this thing is very important to us, as I know it is to you, Professor. So, and I turn more to the captain. So, like Mason said, anything we could go on, any lead to start, should point us in the next direction.
Why are you all so interested in this artifact? Everyone I've talked to is just so. I can't see a use for it. It's just sort of pretty. Are you just collectors?
Points at the professor and says, he's researching it.
Right, I got that, but, why would corporations be interested in it?
That's what we'd like to know too.
Yeah.
Or at least me.
I mean, same thing, honestly, right?
Well, I mean,
as far as we're aware,
the thing about these artifacts is that they are actually quite fascinating in what they are. They could be perhaps an ancient power source. That's something that has been theorized, but they might even be something far beyond. He kind of looks around and says, I'll save that for later. I'm sorry.
Right, sure. I don't know exactly who sort of organized the mutiny. It was my my master gunner who, pulled the sword on me first, but he's sort of. I don't think he has the intelligence to organize something like that himself. So, my quartermaster is erected. So, that's might be a lead. I sort of hoped that she didn't live up to the racial biases. But I also have a doctor, not actually have a doctorate, but who's been interested in fancy medical technology. So I've been thinking about who did this. So she might have, if someone paid her off, but otherwise I know where we usually would go, but if there's a different captain now. can give you the information on their wanted ads, on their little wanted posters.
As you say that, you suddenly, like, a sense of familiarity that had started to creep in when you first laid eyes on these people. The moment you say wanted posters, it like clicks a little bit as you start.
No way. Are you serious? Are you people? You're the people that Silverbreak's looking for right now, right? Right? Your
Mason's
bounties
hat
all together.
increases in tip.
All of your bounties together make more than mine. It's an honor, really. Where are my manners? And she sort of does like an extravagant bow. Captain Desiree, Dancing Blade, Floyd Scourge, Siren of the Astral Sea, it's a pleasure.
Oba.
We didn't.
Pilot?
we didn't do what they said we did. Just so you know.
Of course, sure, right.
Bina kind of like elbows Olam just like
Yeah.
lightly, like in the side. You're like, I don't think that's gonna help here.
I'm just like,
Of course you
I'm
did.
Olam.
Mason.
So I'd, with whatever capacity I can, I'd love to help. Big fan. Otherwise, I'm just sort of, my alternative isn't exactly that attractive.
Well,
I mean, Bina's like clearly is like trying to think about this rationally, but like really is just like, yes, let's take a pirate for a ride. I mean, I could be cool.
the professor just sort of looks at the rest of you and says, "We need that artifact. It's the closest I've ever come to actually having one, and without looking at it, or I'm no closer to knowing what it is or what Silverbreak wants with it."
Well, I guess we're gonna be looking for an artifact. We're gonna get your ship back. Maybe in the process.
Right. Get some payback time.
Yeah.
Is that something we can do?
Let's focus on getting the artifact if that's all right with everybody.
Yeah, I'm into that. Should we go back to our ship?
I don't think there's any time to waste.
We don't have anything useful out here. No offense, but this is kind of.
No, I'm the most useful thing for Miles.
All right.
The professor stands up and just says, "Well, then we should probably head back to town, and I can start processing all of this. And you can start getting ready to do whatever it is you're going to do. Right."
Is he like in shock?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
He very much is.
I like offer him and like I have a moment realizing like I would be some months ago I'd probably be as like flabbergasted in this situation as he is, but having like wrote it out for a while recently, I have my bearings relatively, so I like offer him a forearm to lean on or something.
And he nods and sort of just gently sort of like holds onto your arm as he just says,
I think feeling this like muted weird thing from him, because like, I can drive, Professor, and she'll kind of go like take the keys out of his hand and like.
"What's that? Oh, yes."
Rifle shotgun.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into getting you a cabin dampener. It's not good. She's where we're walking. It's not good, Professor. We're gonna bad for your ears as they walk back to the.
All right. So we'll cut to back at the town as you are in the professor's apartment as he's sort of setting his stuff back down. And he says, "Well, if you don't mind, if you're going to go off chasing pirates, I think I'm going to stay here.
You take a nap, maybe."
Yes, that's a good idea."
Hand him his discarded cup of tea from earlier and put it in his hand.
He takes it and sips it and says,
Do you have any? Do you have a car? Like, what is it's not a phone number here. What is the word for a contact?
Just
or
like frequency. Yeah, personal frequency.
You have a frequency. We can keep you updated. Maybe when
Right,
you
yes,
come back to yourself a little bit,
of
you
course,
can give us some info.
And you watch as he like pulls up on his terminal and just sort of swipes it across to yours. All of you receive the information on your terminals.
Mine's sort of buggy. I gotta like
Yeah.
hit a little,
It like
little...
like the display
The sand.
flickers like once or twice, just
Yeah.
and then like a little bit of sand pours out of it. You know.
Ooh, is that a hardware or a software issue?
Both. Didn't really have a tech person on our ship.
I mean, I can take a look at it later, but if it's anything on the inside, I am useless. But if it's a parts replacement, I can get you.
It's very nice of you. The nicest outlaws I've ever met.
Girl. Okay. She goes back to like her terminal, implementing the frequency, so she has it.
By this point, the professor has already, once again abandoning his tea, has already laid down on the couch and has just sort of like splayed out onto it and is just sort of leaning back. Says, "Oh boy," and pretty much immediately falls asleep.
I just leave a note asking him to like get me some rum when we get back. Like forego this much payment in exchange for bottles of rum, please.
And Vina's gonna take it and tack on like a grocery list, like 3 or 4 different parts that his like vehicle needs. Like
Perfect.
All right.
and then like tuck it into like his lapel, like in his front pocket.
All right. Departing the professor's apartment, you make your way back through the town. The same guard that you saw that escorted you to the professor's apartment earlier. You can see him now sitting just on one of the outside tables downstairs as you come down at the outside tables of the bar, as he's just sort of watching you as you pass, not making no expression whatsoever, just sort of takes a sip of his drink and just keeps watching.
Like as like moving past him the entire time, Vina's like, okay, bye. Okay, see you later.
We'll go ahead and cut to arrival back on Awakener. As you are approaching, you start. I'll say this much, Desiree, that you have never seen a ship this, really like this at all. I mean, at first glance, it looks like just sort of a standard, nondescript freighter. But the more you look at it, the more you realize that there's sort of a sleekness to it that doesn't exist in the design of other freighters of this classification. And as you're looking at it, the closer you get, and the more apparent the differences become, just the more like the mystique of this group grows around them.
Yeah. As she gets closer to the ship, she just goes, "She's a beauty."
Right? Just
Never
wait till you
seen
see the
anything like
inside. The
her.
engine room is amazing. And Mina's gonna let everyone in. I think during all of our movement that has happened recently, I think we would have informed the ship-wide bulletin that we are coming back with a friend, a tentative ally, and things did not, as always, go according to plan. So we have to make some plans.
Yeah. You make your way on board up the boarding ramp into the hold, and as you make your way there, the first person that you see is Jade, who is just sort of like standing there, holding one of the weapons that you that Wynn gave you. Desiree, this
There's
young
no way he knows how to fire.
absolutely not, and that's very clear to Desiree. Like this young boy, probably a human boy, probably about 18 years old, standing holding the pistol. That like very awkwardly, in a way that very much suggests he's never held one before, just sort of watching you, doing his best to like look intimidating, but mostly being like that, fighting with also this deep fascination that mirrors Bina's.
Bina, when Bina gets eyes on him, she's just like
I swagger up to him. I go, "Cabin boy, it's a bit big for you, isn't it?"
I'm not a cap. Who are you?
Sure.
I
Am I?
who?
You don't recognize me.
No.
This is our new
Captain
associate.
Desiree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dancing Blade, Void Scourge, Siren of the Astral Sea. Any of this ring a bell?
Is any of that actually familiar to Bina at all? Or is this completely like...
Yeah.
It's hilarious either way.
I know, it's amazing. I just had the thought, I'm like, oh, I would maybe be someone who might actually recognize that.
I think it's one of those
Out of
things.
anyone.
It's one of those things where Bina's like, yeah, I think I might have heard of some of those. Maybe I don't, but like also maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, okay, perfect. That's exactly
Yeah.
what I was anticipating.
Some of the
Perfect.
names are made up, some of them might not be. We don't
Yeah.
know.
Her own nicknames for herself that didn't get further than a couple of people in her
Come on,
office.
man.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm Star-Lord. Star-Lord?
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
Like
Exactly.
there is a wanted bulletin for her, definitely.
Yeah.
Like she's
Mhm.
but those names are not on there.
Told you guys to spread these names around.
yeah.
Dude, you'd help.
Jade just sort of stands there and says, so, didn't go according to plan.
No, things never do. I'm not surprised. But we get to go chase down a bunch of pirates, maybe? Huh?
You see like a range of emotions and
Yep,
feel
yep.
a range of emotions play across. It's like yes, but also ooh, but it's just like
Might get to learn how to use that.
The
Just-
kombucha girl reaction. The,
yeah.
Mm.
He says, "I know how to use this."
Sure you
And he
do.
looks and you watch as he clicks the safety. Just
Encouragement to give him an asset and a skill. I'm trained in light weapons. Is it a big one? Never mind.
no,
If
it's
a medium-
just it's a small pistol.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
And then for a second, maybe he knows how to use it.
Yeah, which
He
is
knows how to hold it better.
is what prompts him to like glance over it and turn the safety
Yeah,
off
yeah.
and just sort of stand there. All right. So, at this, Jade then says, "So, where are we headed?"
Bina looks at Captain Desiree.
Great question. We talk around him? Is he cool?
Yes. Yeah. All good.
Right. Funny story, we don't know yet. We're going to find out. Let you know as soon as we know.
Oh,
I
so
guess. I don't know. That's not really my job.
business as usual then, huh?
And Bina's gonna turn around and walk towards the bridge.
I'll make some coffee then.
Do you have any alcohol on this vessel?
I whiskey.
It's close enough. Close enough. Thank you.
As Bina, you arrive in the. Hold on, I can turn this off now. You arrive in the cockpit, and as you do, you're surprised to see that there's already somebody in there. Alma is sitting at the in the co-pilot seat, just sort of basically like legs crossed under her on the chair. She's just sort of looking out over the barren landscape before her. As you enter the room, she turns and says, "Welcome back."
Hey, good to see you up and at 'em.
Yeah, I was able to convince Abriel to let me come sit up here on the basis that she literally could not stop me because Patch won't let her leave the infirmary. So,
That checks out.
yeah.
You got the updates?
Some of them, yeah. I think I understand a little bit about what's happening.
Good, because I don't. And I figured maybe this is where we start.
Okay. Do we have a heading or anything?
No, I wanted to throw out some of our scans and just see if unidentified ships in the area, just to get a lay of the land. That's really all I can think of as a jumping off point.
Okay.
And I'll kind of come up and sit in the other chair and start pulling some stuff up.
Yeah. Between the two of you, after a little while, you start being able to pull up departure vectors of ships that left. It's actually not that hard, considering that there
Not a lot of traffic here?
not a lot of traffic here. And given that you have a rough frame of of reference for when this ship might have departed, it's actually very, very easy to track a vector out of the system.
If Oldham comes into the room and he's like, "Hey, I think that if we tried to track the departure vector." Nice.
I think both Bina and Alma probably just like turn and look at you as you're talking and are like nodding.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I'm like, all right, and I like sit down and like start and watch what they're doing.
Yeah. Alma looks at Bina and just sort of smiles and turns back to the.
They both, I think I simultaneously.
So, as by this point, the rest of you have probably arrived in the cockpit as this work is being done. Probably right about the same time that you find the departure vector.
So good news. No one's here ever. So that's
How's that good news?
because that means the only ships that were going in and out are probably the ones we're looking for.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I think she would have you like double check the times, dates, kind of directions of like incoming, outcoming of this ship or whatever. She'd be like, does this
I have no
match?
idea what these symbols mean, but sure.
Oh, that's not helpful.
One thing that you do notice, however, Desiree, is while like a lot of it is like just completely just baffling to you, there is something that you do notice, and that is you actually do recognize the heading, and it is basically the heading is pointing in the direction of, assuming they maintain course, that heading would probably take them back to one of your crew's hideouts, an abandoned space station that you all found a while back. Seemed relatively untrafficked, and after spending some time there to determine whether or not it was in fact in use by anybody, you sort of set up a sort of base of operations, kind of a place to sort of stop, make repairs if necessary. Yeah.
I do know where they're going.
Okay, that's good. That's useful.
It's an old hideout. I know it well.
Ooh. What's the likelihood that it is still in their possession? Because I feel like our chances of getting it back significantly drop if it has changed hands.
I don't think they would have given it to anyone else yet.
Okay.
Probably, if they're going there to do a sort of a handoff, that's not very smart of them. It's one of our best hideouts. Don't think they want to give away the location of that to just anyone.
How do you feel about giving away that location to us specifically?
I don't care anymore, because once I get that ship back, things are going to change, let's just say that.
Great. Do you have coordinates?
Do I?
Yeah,
Have
you
coordinates?
definitely would. You
Cool.
definitely would.
Yeah, let me just get this working. I'll send him over.
Can I
Sure.
she's held off on itchy fingers all day. She needs to is it Bina fixable?
Yeah.
Is it like shake the salt out or the sand out, get compressed air in there?
I would say between Bina and Olam, it is totally fixable. Like
Turn
Okay.
turn it off and then turn it. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
This button right here.
No, hold down those two. Okay, yeah.
No, that takes a screenshot.
And it's just a picture of Mason looking over both your shoulders, like really grumpy man face.
It's like up the nose of like the two that are working on it with like Mason in the background.
yeah.
Mason holding like 4 cups of coffee.
The coffee, just like.
Eventually you do. I'm not even gonna make you roll for it because it's easy enough. You'd be able to fix this, and you're able to get it functioning again. As you do, Desiree, you pull up the coordinates and sort of swipe them over to the computer. Alma looks down at them. She says, "Okay." She sort of looks for a moment, hesitant at the controls, and then actually starts working at them and inputting the coordinates. As she finishes, she says, "Okay, we're all set. Whenever you're ready."
All right. Are we doing this?
Yeah, I think we have to.
All
This is
right.
their one opportunity.
Oh, let's go. And Buna will take liftoff.
All right.
How long of a trip does it look like once we've input the destination?
It's a matter of hours.
Okay.
It would not take particularly long. So coordinates input into the system. You begin cycling the pre-flight checks, and finally ready to take off. You begin liftoff from the planet, chasing down a gang of mutineering pirates.
Yes.
That's where we're gonna take our break because it's a little bit early, but it's a good time for it,
Good.
and
But it felt right.
It felt right.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna take our break. We'll be back in about 10 minutes or so. So don't go anywhere. We shall return. Hi everybody, we're back from break. Well, I refilled my water and I'm ready to go.
Yes.
Me too.
All right.
Got some pirates to catch up to.
Me 3.
Yeah. All right. So, when we left off, y'all were had begun a journey to recover not only the stolen artifact, but also to track down what happened. Track down Desiree's stolen ship and mutineering crew.
I mean, it was originally stolen, but then like stolen more
Eh.
recently.
The most
Either way,
recent.
yeah, the
Most
most
recent
recent
stolen.
repossession
Lift,
of the.
yeah.
All right, so before we cut ahead, does anybody have any particular scenes they want to have in transit on the ship?
I think Beta would just keep an eye on Alma. I don't think she wants to necessarily like stress her out by asking her how she's doing, because clearly she wants to be up and about, but just kind of like do like from a out of the corner of the eye every once in a while. Does she seem like she's okay?
She seems like she's. I'll say mood-wise, she seems like she's okay.
That's good.
You sense like minor frustrations every once in a while, as you can see, and you don't even have to look too closely to see why, as she is sort of working to manipulate the controls. You can see that there's a little bit of unfamiliarity, a little bit of clumsiness to her
I mean,
movements.
she's to do with her brain, so like.
And you can see every once in a while that she'll like look very intently at some of the instrumentation, and then you can feel that surge of frustration as she then like reaches
Goes
over
into-
it.
yeah. I will pointedly not react to any of that if I
Yeah.
see it. Like,
At a certain point, she kind of like glances up over at you and just sort of looks over and says, "I'm okay."
I fiddle with something that doesn't need to be fiddled with. Like,
She says, "I'm okay, really."
I know you're great. Just a lot happened very quickly, and you can't blame me for being worried.
She nods and smiles, and that smile quickly fades as she just sort of looks down and then looks back up at you and she says, "I'm sorry."
For why?
I snapped at you and before all of that stuff, and I was just I was scared. No, I was panicking. Some of it made
Trust me, I know. I can feel it.
Yeah. Sorry for that too. Just some of it made sense to me. I mean, it makes obvious why we would be scared of something like that, but not all of it was anything I could explain. I don't.
Subconscious memories you can't remember.
That's what I think.
Huh. Maybe Peach can help you out with that at some point.
I thought about it. But priorities.
Fair. Eventually we'll have downtime. But hey, no need to apologize. It's okay. You were just trying to do what you thought was the only way out.
Yeah. Still, I've never lost control like that before. Or maybe I have and I just don't remember.
Well, we'll find out, I guess. Now you get to be your own self.
Yeah. I just don't understand. I can still feel the ship. But I can't.
Huh.
I don't know.
Maybe that's worth exploring too.
Maybe.
Can be a brain in the ship and have a physical body. 2 for 1. Very exciting.
Yeah. We'll see. She she glances over her shoulder back down the corridor. She says, "So our new pirate friend."
Oh my gosh. I have no idea what to make of her. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Listen, watching her talk, like the way she speaks and the things she feels, she's very honest, but like somehow they're conflicting. I felt like I needed popcorn. It was amazing. She's fun. I want to talk to her more.
Yeah. Good idea.
We'll see. Hopefully this goes smoothly. I don't really know what to expect, but again, nothing new there.
You feel just the slightest surge of annoyance from Alma,
Ooh.
and then immediately shame. Immediately shame.
Rita does not react to that, but notes it.
Yeah. She is silent for a significant period of time after that. Just sort of like just a confused mix of emotions, mostly shame.
I love it. Yeah, Bina will continue. Feels the discomfort, but then like also I feel like any emotion she feels like takes on a little bit of it. So she does the rambling thing where she just talks about everything they learned. Like she'll talk about the professor and like everything is research that she learned about and like the halves that she kind of understands. And
the funniest part about all of this is that Alma is fully aware that Bina sensed all of that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's only prolonging the awkwardness. But
Bina will just talk. She'll just keep talking. Now she always does.
Yeah. In the meantime, anything else anybody else is doing during this journey?
I think Desiree wants to find this Mason fellow.
All right.
I guess I'm somewhere.
Yeah, I don't.
I'll go ahead
find
and say,
you wherever you are.
I'll go ahead and
but...
say that you're both probably you find Mason in the galley, with just like a tumbler of whiskey, just sort of sitting there. Yep.
What time is it?
I
By the way,
join you?
No. What time is it? Do you know?
Fine.
Yeah. Sorry. You can, of course, have a seat.
You move like a soldier. Sorry if that's weird. It's a weird thing to say. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, you seem like all the brains of this whole operation. Is that right?
Oh. I definitely have brains that work.
That's good. It's important. I wanted to find someone who had a tactical mind, sort of, talk with, because I don't know what we're going into, but I want to sort of give us our best chance,
Absolutely. Also, yes, I was in the regulators before a long time ago. Feels like.
Right.
I try to lose that walk, but it stays with you forever, I'm told.
Does a little bit. Not that I'd know. So my crew, and I just want to essentially go through like a list of like who's gonna be there or who was on the crew last, and like what their skills are to sort of maybe I don't know if this would mechanically give an asset or like just narratively would like to give us a reason to be able to or give these people a reason to be able to maybe know who the best person to go after would be in a combat scenario.
Yeah, actually, I'll say that absolutely. I'll allow kind of that to be a an asset. Information is certainly an asset.
Perfect.
So yeah, um, so you can have that as sort of a long term sort of asset when for I'll say probably for like or when I say long term, I mean like in the relative sense. So we'll call this sort of like a short term benefit. What Cypher refers to as a short term benefit, which is just essentially like something that you have sort of for the duration of an arc. So, for the sake of this, when it comes to tasks relating to basically actually pretty much all non-attack tasks that have to do with Desiree's crew, you'll get an asset on that with info.
Okay. You seem to know a lot about these folk that abandoned you.
Funny that. Think you know someone, right?
Yeah, you always think you do, don't you? But I try not to know too many people.
I was going to say, it seems like you've formed pretty good friendships with these people.
I also like to add that a lot's changed since all of this, of course.
You trust them?
I think I'm starting to.
Interesting.
I think I'm learning what that word means in this circumstance.
Right. Trust among thieves, right?
I've never heard that one before.
Is that in limited supply, or do you mind if I just sort of...
Yeah, you've already done it. Go for
Perfect. Have a couple shots.
I haven't done a couple shots in a long time. I usually sip.
You don't get drunk that way.
Oh yeah, I'm never trying to get drunk too quickly. I got a lot of processing to do.
Right. Find it works better when you're drunk.
Suppose so.
Right about at this point, Jade walks into the galley and just sort of looks around at the two of you, and just sort of
Join us.
oh, he kind of like looks around, says, yeah, and he sits down at the table.
I'll pour him a shot.
And he reaches over for it. The distinct look on his face of somebody doing something that they're not supposed to.
Full giddy, like.
Yeah, kind of like he's like looking between the two of you, watching you shooting them, watching you sipping them, and going.
Toss it back.
And then,
Back your throat. You don't taste it that way.
you're not supposed to taste it.
Depends on who you ask.
He looks.
Depends on how drunk you want to get.
He looks over at Mason, and then just starts sipping it,
Yeah.
and then just just starts coughing. He says,
Slap him on his back.
I think I'm gonna try it the other way. And he's like, I don't think I want to taste it. And then he just knocks back the one. Not particularly well. He keeps it in his mouth for too long, and then then swallows and coughs a little bit, and there's just
Good effort.
yeah, that was better. Not much, but yeah. He says,
When you stop feeling it later.
he nods and says, right, yeah. He just sort of like slowly sinks down in the chair a little bit, just sort of watching the two of you, listening to you chit chat for a while. But anyway,
At some point, I think Mason would pull out a deck of cards.
fair enough. Yeah. We'll go ahead and unless Henry, you have anything you specifically that you want to do.
No, I don't think so. I think that I stay on the bridge or in the cockpit, paying pretty close attention to like the scanning instruments and stuff.
Okay.
You get to witness that whole conversation between me and Alma and take from it what
Yeah,
you will.
I'm just kind of I'm just kind of like willfully not paying attention to that as it takes place.
Not to
You're also
mention,
missing the emotional,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I
totally
probably
missing the
like-
subtext.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even know that there's something to willfully ignore.
Yeah.
I'm just doing my thing. I'm just looking at my.
This is what Bina means when she
Display.
says talking to non-empaths. You're missing so much of the conversation.
But the rest of the journey goes smoothly as you exit FTL. By this point, the rest of you would have rejoined on the bridge, having been warned by Bina that you were approaching your destination. You jump out of FTL, and immediately ahead of you.
Are we quiet? Quiet
Yeah.
mode?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alma almost forgot, and then because she just thinks about it and it happens. But yes, it is. You are in silent running mode. So as you jump into the system, essentially just there are a few. Basically, you can see it very distantly. There is what you've essentially jumped into is a binary star system. And you can see them very distantly from your current location as you are far towards the outside of the system, on one of the only planets that actually one of two planets in the system, a rather small gas giant actually, and or in orbit directly above it you can see a pretty small space station. Nothing like the major stations that are more towards the center of civilizations. This looks like it might have at one point been like perhaps a refueling station, maybe even maybe a small mining, not like gas mining station or something like that. It's hard to say. Maybe frankly, it could have easily been both. But right now, it looks like it's in significant disrepair. You can see where there are sections of it that clearly have power, and there are other sections that are just completely dark. One thing that is very clear to you as you are on approach is that there is absolutely a shuttle that is docked. Not a ship, not a starship, a shuttle.
I think I would call Captain Desiree up to the bridge.
Oh, you're all, I
when
assume,
we're...
yeah, you're all kind of there.
Oh, we've all gathered.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think my ship was not big enough to have shuttles, right?
It might have been, yeah. It probably would have been, actually.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Does it seem? I don't know what
Yeah.
kind of distance we have, or if we can like magnify it.
You absolutely can, and looking at it, it's definitely one of yours.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's up there. Someone I know.
Okay, that's good.
Alma speaks up. She says, doing a quick scan, there are about a dozen life signs on the station.
It's a good portion of the crew.
What are your crew numbers?
What are my crew numbers?
I don't know. I figured you defined that.
Okay, I was gonna say like probably not more than 50. Like it's pretty small. So I would, let's say maybe around like 30. So maybe that's about half of them, or
Yeah.
I don't know, a good portion of them.
Yeah.
What was that asset before I
To
what's that asset for again?
basically to tasks involving Desiree's crew, non-combat tasks.
Non-threat, like battle-y,
Yeah.
fighty stuff. Okay. Battly. All right.
Battly.
Everyone heard me say that.
But no sign of the actual ship.
Not as far. No, definitely not on scans.
Oh, and Desiree would have told you the name of the ship is the Siren's Lament,
Ooh,
because that's important to her.
yes.
Oh god. Can I check for any weird energy readings that might correspond to the artifact from the?
You can
It's something that Abriel or Peach would probably be better at than me, but
try, but not
Yeah.
really having much to compare it to. You're not sure, but you can see if there's anything anomalous about.
I want to do that at least.
Let's say, could we call Abriel and just be like, I'll just
Yeah.
call down to Medbay and be like, hey, Abriel, do you have a second?
I have a potentially infinite number of them.
Great. Okay. With the research, all the stuff you did with that weird thing you're working on, if we were to track something like it, is there anything in particular we could look for on scans that would make it apparent to us? Or lack of something? I don't know. Science.
Unfortunately, there's not really much that most of our sensors are able to detect about these artifacts. They're basically invisible to most of our instrumentation. It's one of the reasons why they're so fascinating and, of interest.
Good to know. If you think of anything, let us know. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your seconds. And then she hangs up.
Alma looks over. She says, "That was vaguely threatening. I like it."
We have things to do.
I still want to sweep like a quick scan for anomalous energy readings on this station, if I may.
There are many, but they are consistent with what you would expect to find in a station that has long since been abandoned and has not had a lot of formal professional restorative work done on it. The kinds of anomalous readings that would come from patchwork repairs and just degrading systems.
All right, this space station is powered by 3 to 4 portable hand crank generators.
Hey, I can get all of them.
Exactly.
I mean, like it looks mostly okay. It's the kind of place that you certainly don't want to bet on this place for any long period of time, any long-term period of time, but it's stable enough for now. Like the orbit is still stable and everything that's keeping it there seems to be functioning, at least with this sort of cursory scan. It seems to be.
Are there any like we've looked at before, ion trails type of a thing in the area? Like what type of traffic has been through here recently?
There are actually you can detect quite a few of them, all going in various directions. Each one is identical. They are identical, and Desiree, you would note this as a common tactic to those avoiding law enforcement. Yeah.
We should employ that tactic. That sounds great. Okay. Vina will file that away as an evasion tactic for later.
You see, as you sort of draw closer to the station, Alma suddenly straightens up, and she looks at you and she says, "I can feel the station's computers. They're contacting the ship."
Ours?
You can feel the computers.
She turns to long story.
For a later date. Is it a voice or text?
No, neither. She says, "It's just a signal. It's docking protocol."
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Do we want to dock, or do we want More surveillance first.
How are we going to fight them? She draws her cutlass. We don't dock.
Whoa. Well, I say,
Watch out.
well, at the very least, they might be able to point us to where the ship is if the artifact's not on board the station, willingly or unwillingly.
Yeah, would they bring it down here? Well, I guess there's only one way to find out. Huh?
Doesn't
Going
he
to
want
say,
to
I'm
answer?
not sure. Depends on who's there, really.
I say, if we dock here, is it possible that they'll send a message to the ship and it'll, well, make as much space between us and it as possible and make the trail that much harder to find?
I know there are docks that can immobilize ships. Like they could, could they hold us here? And she'll turn to the captain.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think my crew is particularly technologically inclined, but I don't know. I didn't see this coming, so.
I didn't handle that.
There's a lot I don't know about, apparently.
That's below my pay grade.
Yeah, this is not my job.
Alma says, you know, if we dock, their systems will be connected to ours, and I might be able to blind them for a little while.
Ooh, that could be useful.
I mean, I've
Yeah.
never done anything like that except for, well, you know. But I'd be willing to try it.
Yeah, we can give it a shot. She'll kind of look at everyone and be like, "Are we, like, hands go to the controls? Are we docking?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I will engage the docking protocols then.
All right. So reaching out, kind of responding to the docking protocol, you start feeling Awakener's course sort of alter very slightly, pulling in towards one of the airlocks. As you arrive, Awakener pulls up very smoothly next to the station, sets in, and after a moment you can feel the ship jolt very slightly as the docking clamps engage. And Alma says, "1 second," as she sort of says, "Okay, full docking procedures have completed." Moment of truth, as she reaches out towards one of the displays and just puts her hand on the display and closes her eyes. And Desiree, you notice something very remarkable happening. Without her actually touching the display at all, you watch as the display starts, like, rapidly shifting through a variety of screens as code just starts scrolling.
Is that normal? Is that supposed to happen?
We weren't sure if it could still happen.
Don't know what that means.
Yeah, and you'll continue to not know for a little bit longer.
Right.
There are a couple of tense moments of silence as the display continues to flicker through various screens, almost too fast to fully track. And then finally, Alma just sort of, whew. Okay, it's a little different from out here, but principles are the same. We should be good for a while. I convinced the docking computer to ignore us for a little while.
You've never seen us. We're not
Who
here.
are you?
She turns. She says, "You're not really equipped to handle the answer to that right now."
I was sort of more asking. I haven't seen your face on the ads. It's fine. Right. Later, after I smash some heads.
Mm-hmm.
Alma says, "Oh, and as a bonus, I'm in full contact with the station's computers, such as they are, so I'll be able to keep track of your movements. I wasn't really able to tap into any sort of security systems or anything like that, but at the very least, internal sensors."
Good to know. You keep an eye on us from the outside, and the captain here can get us around while we're in there. Right? Are you familiar with this location, as from what I've gathered?
I know the ship like the station like the back of my hand.
Good to know. Okay.
Good.
Because I'm gonna tighten her tool belt and so we got some like defensive things from that place. Did we ever get stats on those? We can deal with that later if it becomes relevant, but if we have those, I would like to
absolutely.
slap some of
if
those
you've
on.
got like basically what you described is sort of the modified miniaturized version of like the riot shields that are often employed. I would say that those would probably give you like one armor, which basically just reduces damage by one.
Yes.
Yeah, so you've got that. There's probably also like physical armor in there if anybody actually wants that. Would be among some of the stuff that you purchased.
It usually has a speed cost though, right?
It does. For effort spends, yeah. It has a. So if you're trained in it, then if not, Binas are sort of an exception in this case because I'm not counting those as like they're more of like a just sort of energy
bracer.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
energy sort of
energy bracer.
thing.
Yeah.
But the actual physical armor, different story. So those would be probably light armor.
I'm good with this for now. Hope things go well.
Mason looks at the armor and just kind of pats it. Not today. He's just gonna have it kind of like button up his he has like a vest underneath, kind of like old dusty vest, and make sure his chest harness is all situated and make sure it's all ready to go.
As they're all sort of moving out, you see Desiree like pull something down over her eye, and it's fashioned to look like an eye patch because clearly there's a motif, but it like is sort of see-through. Like think like Garrus Vicarian sort of like targeting system that she pulls down
like a
over her face.
like a holographic. Yeah, cool.
Right. Sick.
Yeah. All right. So.
Okay.
You gather at the airlock, which hisses open as it fully begins to grant access to the station's airlock, which you can see on the other side of the door. The station's airlock starts opening as well, making your way through the docking corridor. You step out into a poorly lit station. Bina, looking around this place. Hold on, I actually have a thing for this. I actually have a. All right. Looking around, Bina, you can tell that this place is lit exclusively by emergency lighting.
Oh.
There is, and it looks like it probably always is, based on what you can see of the actual lighting apparatus. Looks damaged a long time ago. This place, there's just sort of this dim red light that is just sort of not even everywhere, because there are places where even the emergency lighting isn't working.
Held together by duct tape and hope.
Yep, duct tape, chewing gum, a little bit of spit, and some prayers. Yeah. You stepping inside, it's eerily quiet. Other than the sort of the standard sounds of any old station or old machinery, there is no sound whatsoever. Just sort of every once in a while you can hear just sort of like old like recordings and things like that from like recorded announcements and things like that to sort of like play garbled and whatnot. It's
space horror.
Yeah, it's a for Desiree this is standard, but like for the rest of you this is a very, very eerie place to step foot into.
It does have artificial atmosphere, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's not, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I will say Olam more than anybody else would note that the gravity is slightly less than would be comfortable, but for most of you, you probably wouldn't notice.
Right, everybody, follow me. I'll get in front of them, like have my sword ready, and like lead them through, probably to the shuttle bay first, or to where we saw the other shuttle docked first.
Yeah, it's not a long ways to the shuttle bay, as that is just down down through this, in the same section as this as the airlocks.
I'm gonna have like feelers out like I've done in the past, because this is like ooky spooky.
Yeah.
Things around corners maybe, but yeah, Venus like a little bit on edge, like trying to feel out so we don't get snuck up on.
You hear your communicator crackle, and you just hear Alma says, testing, can you all hear me?
Yes.
She says, okay.
It's Invi, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, is it in the
yeah.
ear? Okay,
Yeah.
never mind. You're good.
She says, I'm tracking the life signs. Most of them are a fair distance from your current location. So you should be clear to check out the shuttle bay if that's where you're going first.
Good to know.
She says, I'll let you know if any of that changes.
Perfect.
You continue making your way through the station's corridors until you find sort of a door that a much larger bay door. It does appear to be sealed, and you can see that the indicators are on for the locking mechanism. There is a panel, a control panel not too far, just off to the side of it. But you can see, as you're looking at the door, you can see that the indicators, like the red indicators on the door for it being locked, every once in a while you see one of them just sort of flicker. Sort of.
Oh boy. Oh.
Is there sort of like a master password that I would know about? They probably changed it, but something like that I could try to put into the...
I mean, if they thought you would get back here ever.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
What are the chances of that?
Yeah. You can try it as you step up to the terminal.
Swordfish.
It actually, to your surprise, accepts the master command as the bay door begins opening, revealing the loading bay with a lone shuttle, one that you recognize as one of your own, just set there, just right in the middle of the bay. It is fully open. It has not been locked down or anything like that. It's just sitting there. You can see what looks like, you recognize some of your last haul that is still sort of being unloaded from the shuttle, as well as stuff you don't recognize. Probably new stuff.
Is it like still illicit stuff, or is it like way different than what we usually get?
It definitely looks like this your standard stuff. It's just not stuff you remember having taken yourself.
Gotcha. Bastards.
I kind of want to peek at the stuff and maybe in the shuttle, because I don't know, maybe it's in there. They're still unloading stuff. Who knows?
Looking around at some of the crates that have started to be unloaded, you can see some of them are stamped with corporate logos. Not the kind that would that indicated they would belong to corporations so much as it is like just the containers. Yeah, like the yeah. So a few of them are cracked open, and as you look inside of them, some of it is various trade goods. Yeah, just a variety of things. One of them is full to the brim with rations of the sort that are often sent with sent to newly terraformed worlds who have a recently established colony. The ones who haven't established any form of food production on their own. You can see a few of those. You can actually see one of the crates actually has medical supplies in it.
Are there anything that one might think of as ciphers amongst this pirate booty?
Oh.
Steal
Just a-
ciphers from my ship. I fully
Yes.
support this.
Ooh,
I was gonna ask
boy.
the same thing.
I'm so glad you asked. You can look for ciphers.
Yes.
I steal from my own ship. Is that allowed?
Absolutely.
I want to get
Amazing.
in on this.
All right, let me pull up the
I'm
ciphers.
specifically looking for alcohol, but if I find ciphers, that's fine.
Fair enough. Okay. So if y'all want to look for ciphers,
Absolutely.
We always forget because we're
Yep.
always on our
I
ship,
know.
which we own.
all right. So
like a public place.
I'll need everybody to first roll. I love randomly rolling on tables. First roll a d6. I also love that the first roll of the game is rolling for ciphers. Randomly rolling on tables for ciphers.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us when you would like, and in what order you would like those revealed.
We'll start with Caitlin.
6.
Okay. Freeman.
Do we add anything to this
Nope.
first one? I forget. Okay.
Nope.
3.
Okay. Henry.
1.
1. Okay. And Lily.
Yep.
2. Okay. So Caitlin.
One,
is on.
two,
Okay. Now I need everybody to roll a d100.
Yes.
That's my favorite part.
Mhm.
Ooh.
And I'll start with Caitlin because you're on.
Okay.
Henry and Lily are on the same chart. Freeman's on his own chart, and then Caitlin is on.
I'm always on my own chart.
42.
I chart my own destiny.
Answer to life, the universe, and
42.
everything.
That sounds intriguing.
Ooh. I love that reaction.
Oh gosh. Okay. Ooh. That's
I
very
love
cool.
this.
That's very cool. Go ahead and actually roll another d6 and add 4.
Oh, okay. 1 + 4, 5.
All right, so it's a level 5 cipher. So this is actually something that Bina would actually know what it is, just picking it up. This is a spatial warp. It is a small but powerful device that when affixed, when it is affixed to another device that affects a single target at range, that range increases to 1 mile with no penalties.
Oh, shit.
It literally warps space. And yeah.
Oh.
Sick.
So it affects an item or a weapon, not like our abilities. It would be like a tech. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it says when affixed to a device that affects a single target at range.
Okay.
If it also says if direct line of sight is important to the device's effect, it remains important. So.
Okay.
So yeah.
So I can't just snipe someone from a mile away.
Yeah, no. You still have to have line of sight.
If I have like a camera view on him.
Possibly.
It's fun.
So anyway, yeah, you have a spatial warp. All right.
Cool.
Which is dope. All right. Let's see. Freeman, we're just gonna go down the chart. So Freeman, what'd you roll?
70.
70. Ooh.
Super breast.
Y'all are
breath-
rolling
breath-
some good shit.
Breath mints, please. Super breast mints.
Yes.
Yes, super
Yes.
breast mints.
That's where he wants those.
Give me a second while I remember how the alphabet works. Okay, roll a d6 for me, Freeman.
All right. I've got a 3 again.
Okay, so it's a level 3 cipher. So this, actually, you know what? I feel like Mason would recognize this too, because this is something that very likely the regulators use, especially in the investigative branch. This is actually, it's not, what you're seeing is essentially a stim. It is a stim that affects the memory centers of the brain, and allowing perfect memory. So allows the user to mentally record everything they see for 30 seconds and store the recording permanently in their long-term memory. Useful for watching someone pick a specific lock, enter a complex code, or do something else that happens quickly.
Oh my my goodness.
Cool as hell.
Mhm.
Cool.
So, it's like something I would like inject into myself.
I think this one is more something that you can like wear on your skin like a patch and then like activate it with just sort of a quick press.
Ooh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Delightful.
All right.
God, have we only used one Cypher in game before, and it was you using your level 8 mouthwash?
Yes. Correct.
Good,
right.
I'm glad.
Legendary.
16 sessions in, and we've only used mouthwash.
I know.
Best
In like the
mouthwash.
first session or something.
As
Yes,
soon as he got
immediately.
it, yeah.
Yes.
That's
Like,
the best
yeah.
mouthwash. Ever.
All right, Lily, what'd you get?
87.
87.
Yeah.
That's cool. Hold on, that sounds cool anyway. Man, you guys are rolling some cool shit. Oops, too far. Okay. Okay, so this is generally speaking, this is a piece of emergency equipment. It is a flame retardant wall. Go ahead and actually first roll a d6.
It's a 6.
Okay, so it is a level 6 Cypher. So this creates an immobile plane of permeable energy up to 20 feet by 20 feet for 1 hour. The plane conforms to space available. Flames passing through the plane are extinguished.
Oh, cool. So it's like so you said flame retardant wall, right?
Yeah.
With W?
Yep.
Okay.
And it basically just
I heard ball at first and
I
I was
also
like, that's
did hear
cool.
ball.
yeah, no, wall.
Wall, cool.
It's often used for keeping fire from spreading on like ships and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is something that you find. Henry, what'd you get?
95.
95. Cool. So go ahead and roll a d6 and add 3.
4.
Level 4 Cypher. All right. So this is a force shield projector. Creates a shimmering energy shield around the user for 1 hour, during which time he gains +3 to armor. Or +4 to armor if the Cypher is level 5 or higher, which it is not. Was it a level?
Wow.
Or was it a level 5 or was it a level 4?
No, it was 4.
Okay, yeah.
That's so cool.
+3 to armor for an hour.
Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yep. Cool. So.
Cypher time.
Yeah, I love ciphers.
All right.
Illegal. What have these people been doing?
All right. So, yeah, just sort of poking around, you find a few useful items that you sort of gather up and.
I would like to begin to sleuth around this thing.
Sure thing. Go ahead and. So, is anybody entering the shuttle, or are you just sort of looking around
I
outside?
kind of wanted to, yeah.
That's where my alcohol stash is.
Okay, sounds good.
You better get in there then.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So making your way into the shuttle, just sort of looking around. It's not a pretty vehicle, but it's kind of more of a workhorse, really. Like this shuttle it gets the job done. It's not pretty. It's not flashy. It gets the job done. It gets you from here to there. You can see that this particular shuttle is much more laid out, possibly even modified aftermarket to sort of resemble more the layout of a drop shuttle. So the back portion of it, in addition to having sort of a smallish cargo hold, also has like the cargo hold is lined with inward facing rows of seats. And then there's just a small room in the center of the shuttle that in the case of this particular shuttle looks to be a very limited bunk room, and then just beyond that there's probably no more than 4 bunks in there, and just beyond that there is the cockpit with it's a sort of 2-seat cockpit. as you make your way through the shuttle, sort of picking through what's here. You can see some personal effects, nothing particularly valuable, just sort of stuff that just kind of got left here.
I can't find like a digital manifest anywhere here. Do I think that pirates would keep a manifest on the shuttle, or
Like a crew manifest? Because Desiree could give you like a crew manifest.
no, like with the I mean crew too, but like the
Oh, the supplies. Gotcha.
yeah.
Unlikely, because
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I just figured I'd ask, but yeah.
in the
Okay.
like, not only just because it's pirates are not known for their prowess at logistics, but also or their inclination towards them, but also it's effectively an admission of guilt if anything were to happen.
That's fair.
So like, it's basically one of those things that, like, worst comes to worst, if you're getting tracked down, you can just jettison cargo and then deny everything. So although the number of times that actually makes a difference in any sort of capture and arrest situation is
Very little.
Yeah.
Capture it.
But in any case, as you're sort of looking through, there is something that you do find that is interesting. There appears to be a recorded message that was sent to the shuttle. Looking at the date stamp, maybe like a day ago. Possibly.
I want to listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you pull it up, you just hear a voice come through, and it takes a second to clear up the signal a little bit, but after a minute you're able to. You hear a voice that Desiree, you recognize as Lash's voice. You hear. All right, so once you finish the drop off and the resupply, meet us at the coordinates I sent you. Boss wants to do a trade as soon as possible. Do the handoff quickly. We need everybody we can get. These people are no joke. We'll need everybody around. Make it fast. And that's the end of the transmission.
That little bitch. I'm going to kill her.
Can I snag those coordinates?
Yeah, going through, finding a text message that it was date stamped at the same exact moment as the recording. You pull that up and are able to snag those coordinates right to your terminal.
I shoot them up to Awakener just for safekeeping
Sure.
too.
Alma just says received.
We'll figure out what to do with those later, I guess. But
you also hear Jade's voice in the background. Just, Alma, look. She looks. She says, "Oh. Detecting some slight movement in your direction. Not direct motion. Just, it doesn't look like you've alerted anybody, but some of those life signs are making their way towards you."
okay.
Good place for an ambush.
Oh boy.
Inside
Well, keep you posted.
inside the ship.
I say, I'm wondering if we could disable this shuttle and sneak off of here without any confrontation or bloodshed.
How are we supposed to get any information? I mean, I've got this, but Lash said something about a boss. Lash is my quartermaster. You'd think she'd be the boss.
Yeah, well, if you think it's worth the time, we could ask a few questions. But we've got the coordinates to what seems like it's the meeting point.
Can I sense are the individuals who are moving this way within range at all?
They're probably not close enough. Yeah.
Not yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Can your strange friend tell how many are coming here?
How many, Alma?
Right now, it looks like there's only about 5 of them on the move.
Oh, okay.
Good at stealth at all.
Are we all like in or around the shuttle right now?
I think so.
Would you say? Yeah, I want to like just make crouch down so that if they like look through the shuttle cockpit or whatever, they won't immediately see me.
I mean, I could also fuck up the shuttle. That's not. I mean, it'll hurt me a lot, but I could do it. I could make it not fit for liftoff. Just as a backup? I don't know.
Well,
I'm not very tactically minded, but sounds like we could all sort of take up positions. You disable the shuttle, they sort of get in, find out the shuttle's not going, we close the door, and we fight. Captain here with us. Yeah?
Not
No,
bop them
maybe?
over the head as quickly as we can.
Pop them over the head, slit their throats, whatever.
Well, I mean, I can grab 2 of them, and then each of you can take one.
One.
Well, there's 5.
I can easily take 2.
Not in the way I'm thinking of, but
What?
um,
I'm confused. I don't understand you people. But all
that's
right.
okay. We don't really either. We're all learning together. I mean, do we think we have enough info?
more's always better.
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking that just finding out where the drop-off point would be good enough, but maybe there's more information gained here.
I say, listen, I'm pretty certain that if we needed to, we could clear this whole station and bash the heads you want to, Captain. But I think it's in our best interest when they come through that door to keep them incapacitated, make sure they can't raise any alarms, learn what we can, and then hoof it out of here.
All right. Right. Not used to taking orders, but
I'm
you're the boss.
I'm not giving an order. To be clear, just the way I see it.
Let's definitely disable this shuttle too, for sure. If there's
Okay.
like a couple of wires we could pull without, is
Can I
that
just pull
possible?
some shit out from under
Yeah.
the like navigation and like the starter, like the ignition, basically? Like,
Yeah, it's
just pull a few things out and like put them in some random boxes in
Yeah,
like
just
the.
put it.
yeah. In mechanically, taking a ship apart is way easier than putting it back together. Emotionally, for Bina, it's not.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's definitely harder.
Ugh,
But
she has a time.
yeah. But
she goes. I'm sorry. Oh,
apologizing.
oh, okay.
It's not,
And
it's
she
not my
like.
ship I mean, it is my ship, but not at the moment.
She's talking to the ship.
Yeah.
What? Can all of you talk to ships? Is that just sort of a...
I mean, I
maybe
do.
all
They
you
don't
can
talk.
do?
They don't talk back to me when I do it. It just makes me feel better. And she goes back under the.
I don't understand
pulling some
anything.
stuff.
I'm going to hide.
all right.
Just want to pull out a few crucial pieces, just so it's
Yeah.
going to be difficult to get it off the ground.
Right. So while Bina is sort of dismantling the shuttle, the rest of you are taking up positions.
Taking
somewhere?
a position, yep.
Okay. How do you position yourselves? Like,
Well, first of all, are we all staying inside the excuse me, voice crack. The shuttle itself and hoping that they get close to it or enter it? Because there's also the wider shuttle bay at large. I think we should stay inside the shuttle.
That's what I'm thinking too.
'Cause that's
and
cool.
Draw them in if we need to. Somehow.
And then can there be someone like by the door to like close the door to the shuttle so they're trapped in here with us?
Yeah.
Oh, I would
Oh.
also like to, within the shuttle, turn off communications and also see if, hey, Alma, do you think you could like dampen communications for a certain part of the station? Or is that a bit of a stretch?
I can try. I think it might come down to a choice between that and keeping the station's sensors blind to our ship. But
No, let's stay quiet. That sounds like a better
Okay.
idea. Okay, I'll let you know if we need you.
okay, I'll be here.
Well, I can at least get the shuttle's communications offline. Can't do it
Yeah.
for the whole bay.
Well, let's hope they want something that's in the shuttle.
I mean, we can always just make a ruckus.
I will say that it absolutely would be possible for you to attempt to do that yourself from the inside the shuttle bay.
Ooh.
You could attempt to shut down the communications.
I kind of want to. 'Cause we're ambushing 5 people. Yeah, I want to take a look at that. Go quick and.
Okay. Are you going
Lot
by
of-
yourself or is somebody else going to?
It's up to you guys. I'm going.
Is that like somewhere else? Like where
It's
were you
outside.
going
It's outside of the
for
shuttle, but it's in the shuttle bay. Like there's
okay.
sort of like a small booth
terminal
to one.
something.
Like
Ooh,
yeah, it's like
nice.
it's basically just like a little sort of enclosed booth.
I can hide in there. Yeah.
Yeah, that has like all the basically the computer operations. It's essentially like what passes for flight control on this station, on a station this size. It's a small booth that can be sealed in the event of any sort of containment breach. But yeah, whether or not the seal still functions as intended is a different story. But yeah, that is.
That's why I would offer to go because she doesn't know any of your combat abilities.
Fair. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So Bean will scramble down out of the shuttle and back over to the booth.
All right. So Bina and Desiree making their way over to the booth. Bina, you step inside as you start futzing with the controls, just sort of pulling up displays and things like that, starting to essentially waking up the systems as you're sort of like looking through it.
Good morning. Hello. She's gonna like pat stuff as it's like waking up, as if it helps. It doesn't.
So yeah, if you want to attempt to, eventually you're able to find the the communications panel.
Can I also get, this might not be possible, but like security, like can I get eyes on that hallway or whatever is just outside of the shuttle bay from here?
Interestingly,
just to have up?
as you're looking for it, you note that there aren't security cameras.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you're basically when you go looking for that, what you're pulling up is essentially the same stuff that you got from the ship.
Okay. Cool.
Just basically like the same stuff that Alma got when the ship connected.
Okay. Then just communications.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, so I'm going to have you make a roll.
Yes.
This is going to be an intellect roll with a difficulty of 4.
Cool. Does any of my mechanic stuff help here?
Probably not.
Okay. Can I get an asset out of the captain who knows this station?
Yeah, could I like give her the passwords, the
absolutely.
swordfish password?
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Swordfish.
This is a kid password to everything.
Was that just improvised?
Yeah, that was totally
Swordfish. Okay. Does any of the computer functions like help at all? This isn't Awakener though. Let's say I wouldn't be like
Yeah.
on there. Okay. I think that's all I can get with that one, unless my enlightened helps being able to see all of the shit.
No, that's not gonna.
Okay. All right, then I'm gonna spend for 1.
All right, bring it down to a difficulty 2.
Yes.
All right.
I have an edge of 2, so that's great. Difficulty 2.
Alright.
6 or better.
6 or better.
My God, 5.
Oh,
No.
that's just not fair.
That's fine. I'll sit with that failure.
Yeah, you just sort of you go through, and it's not so much that the systems are complex so much as they're old.
And this is like she's familiar enough with ship system, but this isn't like her bag.
Yeah, these systems are old, and a lot of them don't function as they're quirky, to say the least. They have had who knows how many years of neglect to develop bizarre power fluctuations and
Incredible.
just it's
rough. It's rusty.
rough, yeah, but I am going to offer you a GM intrusion.
I'll take it.
All right. Go ahead and take 1 XP and distribute the other as you see fit.
I'm gonna give 1 to Olam because I think he spent an XP on me when I was trying to do my big scary effect up in space last time.
All right.
That's forever ago, but I haven't had a GM intrusion in a long time.
Right. So, as you're sitting there working through the systems, you can see you're basically like encountering error after error as you're going through, and just sort of at one
Beep,
point,
beep, beep.
it's just you're just getting very like frustrated, and finally at one point you're like, okay, I'm gonna try this one last thing, and you do it, and you see you see error, user unrecognized, process does not exist, and it says initiating lockout, and that and
Too many wrong attempts were wiping your iPod.
yeah, and then all of a sudden, as that happens,
Oh no.
you see like all the systems like lock you out, and then you watch as another system, another display, you see it say catastrophic system error, and then
You guys hear overcomes just hear me to go, uh-oh.
you see catastrophic system error initiating safeguards, and at that exact moment, then you just begin to hear like an alarm blare.
Oh no, like klaxons or like smaller than
It's
that?
not like big loud klaxon noise, but it's loud enough. It's loud
I
enough,
didn't know it could do that. Never
especially
done that before.
especially in the silence of the otherwise silent station. It is loud. It cuts off immediately,
Oh,
and then immediately it starts, and then you can hear as it like fails basically.
Beanie goes, oh, this is what I get. This is karma for hurting a ship.
And then you watch as the shuttle bay doors begin to close, but but they're like the system is locked down, so the doors are like the mechanical process is working, but like none of the computer stuff is happening, and none of the computer processes are happening. So the doors start screeching, like metal on metal, screech and grind, and then they just sort of stop. And you watch as an explosion of sparks from the door, and then they just stop moving. Like the screeching, grinding stops.
I didn't do it right.
You stop. Just sort of,
as if anyone didn't hear that.
just sort of listening, and in the distance, you just hear.
Hide.
You hear just sort of a shriek in the distance. Just sort of. As you the two of you just exchange a glance.
Like a person sounding shriek, like someone shrieked, or like the ship made a shrieking
It
noise.
definitely was not a sound that a person would make.
Okay, just some weird. Oh.
Oh no.
Yeah. Thank you for the follow.
Oh, this is fucking fantastic. Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Olam and I are in the ship, in the little.
We hear the shriek even from inside the shuttle,
I was
probably.
gonna ask that. Too.
Yeah. At this point, you hear. Sorry, I turned that way.
Oh
too.
god.
At this point, you hear the comms crackle again, and you hear Alma saying, "Okay, I don't know what you did, but they're all moving towards you now."
Let's hide.
Yep. Just, I mean, we're in a booth. She's gonna tell the guys in the shuttle, kind of ping them, be like, "We have company." Oh gosh.
I want to try and hide like a bit closer to where like people would be, because I'm a melee person.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Like the booth has doors that go out to either side of it. One that can certainly give you quick access to the shuttle bay door. From this angle, sort of as your that door is open, like that door to the booth is open, you can get a good angle out of the shuttle bay doors, sort of at an angle. And as you're looking, standing there just for a moment, you catch movement, and then you catch sort of a flash of like something glowing green.
Oh shit. Oh no, they've had the fucking. I don't know why I didn't make this connection. Oh no.
And then as you Desiree, as you look a little closer, kind of trying to pierce the darkness, you watch as all of a sudden two like glowing green pinpricks sort of shine back at you suddenly from the corridor outside, and then a second pair, and then a third pair, and you watch as movement starts stirring in the shadows, as several humanoid forms begin detaching themselves from the shadows, running full tilt towards the shuttle bay. As they rush in, you can see the weird thing about it is that at first glance, you recognize members of your crew, but the more you look at them, the more their movements are more bestial and more like most of them aren't even holding weapons. Most of them just seem to be like have their hands sort of out and just sort of like widespread fingers just sort of searching around, just wildly looking around the shuttle bay. You can see sort of these dark black veins that are kind of going through their skin, as you just sort of watching this strange turn of events, their eyes glowing a sort of sickly green color as they all start pouring one after the other into the shuttle bay.
What have they done to you?
Meanwhile, Olim and Mason, you're sort of like looking just sort of up over the dash of the shuttle,
Yeah, exactly.
seeing a group of warped rush into the shuttle bay.
I guess there's probably no point in hiding, huh?
Yeah, we should go do something about that, I guess.
Yeah, we should take care of that.
Very conversational. Love it.
All right.
Just another day.
Yeah, I start like creeping out towards the exit of the shuttle.
As you're doing that, you hear Alma's voice crackling over the comms once again, saying, "Whatever you're gonna do, I suggest you do it fast because the rest of them are gonna be on you in less than 2 minutes."
Oh shit. Okay.
Before, as these guys were talking, if I could get like the jump on maybe ideally 2 of them, but if I could just get to 1, that's fine. I want to just come out and start swinging.
Yeah, absolutely. You can pretty easily, as they sort of rush into the shuttle bay, basically like not even glancing in the direction of the booth, they just sort of rush into the shuttle bay and start like heads sort of low, hanging low and swiveling around the room. You are able to sort of sidle in from the side and from behind.
Before she jumps out, I want to like grab her elbow and just be like, sound and movement attracts them. Just have that on your radar. And then she's gonna go back and start like trying to figure out what she's gonna do next.
What? All right, so make a lot of noise and they'll come to me. Got it.
Oh god.
I want to go for. I don't know if they're in any sort of formation, but like if there's maybe 2 of them back here, like at the end of whatever trail it is.
There's definitely 2 of the 5 are much closer to you than the others. But yeah.
Freaking jump out of my hiding spot with taking a swipe with the cutlass at 1, and as I'm sort of getting in the middle of them, I don't know if anyone can see her, but her cybernetic leg, as she twists in the air, it turns into a blade. The metal plates shift and try and kick at the guy behind me.
Okay, so
cool as hell.
Sick.
So I'm gonna have you get the jump on them. So we're not gonna bother with initiative right now. But so I'm gonna have you go ahead and make an attack. This will be, you can choose speed or might. It's up to you. With melee attacks, you can choose whether it's a speed or might roll.
Okay.
But the difficulty on this is going to be 3.
Okay. So I have, what's my thing? I have surprise attack. If I attack from a hit advantage with surprise before an opponent's acted, I get my reduced difficulty by 1.
Awesome.
And on a successful hit, I'll inflict 2 additional points of damage, but let's hit first.
Okay.
I think my eye patch counts as an asset.
It does.
And then I have, I'm trained in medium bladed attacks, so I think I just hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you would not have to roll for that.
Right, and I want to, if possible, I want to use Mighty Blow, so I hit both of them. It's a 2 might point spend, but I have an edge of 2.
Excellent. Yeah.
So I hit both of them, and so it's 4 damage plus the 2 for the surprise attack. So
Yeah, so
6
6
damage.
damage.
On both of them.
Cool as hell.
cool.
No roll. Yes.
So
All right.
she, like, you see, if it's cool if I narrate.
Yeah,
a little
go for
bit.
it.
Okay. So you remember that name? She gave herself the Dancing Blade. You can, anyone that can see, the people on shuttle probably can't, so they won't see how cool this is. But she comes like spinning out of here of her hiding spot, coming over her shoulder at the first one, going for like his place where his shoulder meets his neck. And as she does that, she spins on her like flesh foot and does a roundhouse kick to the guy behind her, sort of going for his waist, his stomach.
Oof. Yeah, just sort of becoming a veritable whirling dervish of blades as she just springs into action immediately, like just ruthless efficiency, sort of like reaching out, like cutting into these creatures. Both of them are severely injured by this as you cut through both of them simultaneously. The other 3 like immediately hearing the commotion, immediately like turn and look in your direction.
Steal my ship, will you?
Now we're going to
Roll.
have some initiative rolls. The difficulty is 3 on the initiative here.
I can't do anything to help me, so I'm just gonna roll.
Okay.
I'm specialized at initiative, so it's difficulty 1.
Yes.
So I'll roll that.
Let's see. Dexterity power shift. Is that
Yep.
something I've used in the past?
It is. Yep.
My sight doesn't help me here probably at all.
Yeah,
ever.
probably not.
Nothing. God damn it.
I got a natural 20.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Nice.
I got a 10, so I succeed.
Okay.
3.
Excuse me.
Ooh.
Wait.
Oh, I got a 17.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So everybody except for Bina goes, and I'll actually go ahead and say, just with that 20 on the initiative, Olim, I'll put you first, and then the rest of you can sort of decide your order. But yeah, so go for it.
Okay, so as Captain Desiree is doing this bit of blade dancing, I like come skittering out of the like door of the shuttle, and I just point my hand at one of the ones that she's not engaged with, and just shoot a burst of gravitonic energy or something like that.
Yeah.
What? Out of curiosity, what's the range on Onslaught? Is it
Oh
short
gosh, I think it.
range?
Yeah, good question. I think it is only short. Let me find it real quick. Sorry. Page.
I suspect that you are within short range of these creatures. I just am curious what the.
It is within short range.
Okay. Yeah. Because this shuttle bay is big enough for like on a good day, 2 shuttles, but it's comfortably will fit 1. So like basically everything in here is within short range. So like yeah, you can
Cool.
Ooh, actually that's not entirely true. No, everything. If you're standing kind of more or less in the middle of the of the shuttle bay. So with that,
so, yeah.
everything is within short range of you. Everything in the room is within short range of you. But yeah, so
Right, that makes from the middle. That makes sense.
yeah. So yeah, you can easily do. So go ahead and roll. It's difficulty 3.
All right. I'm gonna spend. Oh no. Let's see. Yeah, it was. Okay. I'm gonna spend a level of effort for the attack roll and put the 2 power shifts into the damage.
Okay.
And so, with an edge of 2, the power itself costs 1, and the level of effort would be 3. I'm spending 2 from my intellect pool.
Okay.
And the difficulty goes from 3 to 2.
All right.
I
So
think.
yeah, 6 or better.
Oh gosh, I hope I get it. And it's not the mind slice type of the attack.
Right,
It's
it's a physical,
full on
yeah.
physical energy, baby.
All right.
Physical energy.
17.
Ooh.
Ooh, which is
That's-
1 extra point of
Yeah.
damage.
So what's that total out to?
So it's 11 damage.
So
Holy
what do
shit.
I see as this happens?
I step out and like in a wide stance. I just raise my right hand and my floppy cardigan waves in the wind.
Yeah.
And then there's this like, it's almost like my arm moves like a big giant artillery thing real quick, and then there's this like just almost instantaneous line of like, it kind of looks like the bullets in the
Like a
slow motion
distortion
part of the
kind of a thing?
Matrix. Yeah, it's like this beam of distortion in the air, and this thing when it struck is like knocked back really hard.
Yeah. The warp that you hit with this goes flying through the air, slams up against the bulkhead, falls to the ground, and lays there unmoving.
Who are you people?
New
I say-
friends.
You'll see.
All right.
Love it.
Between Desiree and Mason, who wants to go?
I don't know.
I've already done a cool thing. You can go.
I don't know. Mason wants to see more cool stuff.
All right, cool. Then I'll do the same thing, except for sort of continuing the spin. I'll do an umbrella at the guy in front of me and sort of a mule kick to the guy behind me.
All right. Go ahead and roll.
And you just do it.
Yeah.
I'm still acting before them. Does my surprise attacks, or is that
Yeah,
is that done?
no, you are
Okay.
you are absolutely still acting before them.
Cool. So that's a 6 damage to both
Yeah.
of them again.
Just with that second round of blows, both of them just fall. So go ahead, if you want, you can describe how that goes down.
Nice.
Yeah, so I umbrella over my head to the guy behind me, and I want to sort of get his just head right off. And with the mule kick to the guy behind me, I want to land him in his chest. Maybe the blade kind of sinks into his chest a little bit, and I have to kind of like shake my leg to get him off.
There's like as he's
skewer him and
as
be
he's
like,
starting to
"Ugh."
fall, you almost lose your balance, but you dislodge it just at the last second as it just sort of collapses. Yeah,
These aren't people that like I liked, right? These are
they certainly aren't anymore.
Doesn't seem
right.
like it.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
on several levels.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you sort of look down, kind of give a quick look at a couple at their face and be like, eh, and then just continue. Mason, what are you doing? There's only 2 left now.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna slide down the ramp and like pulling out my pistol and shoot one.
All right,
Get him.
go ahead and make a roll. Speed roll. Difficulty is 3.
Sweet. Let's see. I'm going to sliding. I'm sliding. Shooting. Okay, so I can shoot small weapons.
Yeah, so that brings it down by 1.
And I think dexterity is only for defense, so and stuff. So I'm going to roll that.
All right, so that's a
So
difficulty 2 then, right? You only reduced it
yeah.
once. Okay. Yep.
I'm only
6
reducing it
6 or better.
I'm doing this. I'm gonna do it. Yeah. 13.
13. Yeah, that'll hit. So, what? This is a light weapon.
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't have any additional damage or anything like that to it?
No.
If you wanted to, you could apply a level of effort to increase the damage.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, each level of
That's
effort
like
that you
I forgot
spend for damage increases the damage by 2. Or by 3,
I'll
sorry.
Okay, I'll do 1.
Okay, so it's a total of 5 damage to the 1. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sort of slide down the ramp as you come to a halt. You take careful aim, just like through the landing struts of the shuttle towards the warped, and fire, catching one like right through. Like you watch as the projectile rips right through the throat. It's just sort of like standing, staggering, still up and moving. A shot that would have put down anybody else. The creature sort of looks around, sort of still staggering from the impact, and then just sort of looks, doesn't seem to track your specific location, and instead focuses on Ola.
Well, I'm still gonna make whatever movement I can in my turn. I'm going to be moving towards it, even when shooting it. I'm advancing as quickly as I can to it.
Yeah, taking an action in Cypher, you can move an immediate distance, but anything beyond that requires special stuff. So
I think you can
Yeah, I
either
don't-
choose to move or act unless you have one of 2 abilities. One of them lets
Right.
you roll to move, and the other one just lets you move.
right.
I have fleet of foot.
I think. Oh,
But
how does
I
that
think-
work? Because I think that could be relevant.
I remember.
If it's the
looking at
ability that I
this.
think it is, it might be relevant. But
Yeah, if you succeed at a difficulty 2 speed roll, it's a difficulty speed 2 roll. To
Yeah, so
run,
you-
you can move a short distance.
Okay,
and take
cool,
An
yeah,
action for
so-
the same round.
perfect. Yeah, then that's the
So
yeah.
We just
Yeah, so you could just run to like another area of cover, like behind crates or something.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like Mason comes to a stop at the bottom, like sliding to the bottom, comes to a stop at the bottom, levels a shot, fires, and then just continues motion, just like moving. Like the way that I see this thematically is like you're basically like fully prone as you take the shot, but then you like shift your body's center of gravity suddenly, like with your adaptation, you shift your body's center of gravity so that you just come upright, and then just keep running.
That's
Amazing.
right. That's exactly what I was thinking. And I'm gonna keep on moving.
Yeah. and kind of sliding behind a pile of crates, just sort of. It's actually their turn. The two of them, or I should say, the one and a half of them that are left. As the one that Mason just hit makes a full run towards Olam, and as it reaches, you can see as the gnarled clawed fingers just reach out for you, and I need you to make a speed defense roll here. The difficulty is 3.
Ooh, speed defense. I'm gonna spend 1 level of effort
Okay.
on this. I have a little bit of an edge there, so it cost me 2 instead of 3. And I dropped the difficulty from 3 to 2. So
Yes.
difficulty 3.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So here goes. I'm. This is the part when you're spending on defense rolls, you got to do some calculus. Like, is it worth the damage that I might lose?
Right. Yeah.
And I judge that it could be right now. So let's. Ooh,
I don't remember how these
15.
guys hit.
15. Okay. Yeah. So
15.
you definitely succeed as it comes running towards you. It just swipes at you these big sort of like artless strikes, like fast but not. But you can see them coming, and you basically just like duck under them and sort of away from them. The other one goes running for Desiree, and attempts to
Not me.
make a strike. Go ahead and make a speed defense roll, difficulty 3.
I'm trained in speed defense. From that looked like, did that look like a bad hit, or did that look like maybe I could take it?
It looks like it. The way that I think of the warped is like, you know, the rage zombies from 28 Days Later. Are you familiar with them?
Okay,
So
those aren't cool.
It's kind of like that. Like, whereas they essentially have the same physical capabilities that they had in life, but with none of the inhibitions that they would normally have, essentially. So
Gotcha. So I think
it looks like, actually, literally, like, just from watching these things, you can see as they strike, you can almost see with like the force of some of their strikes, like shoulders dislocating with like the force of some of the strikes. So
yeah, because normally Desiree's pretty like cocky about this kind of stuff, but I think just seeing how weird this is, I'll spend a level of effort, which is it's 3, so down to 2 if I have 1 edge, right? That's how this game works.
Yep. Yep.
Alright, cool. So it's difficulty 1.
Okay, so go ahead and make 3 or better. What'd you get?
That's a 1.
Oh.
You can...
Ooh.
That's a 1.
Ooh.
That's fun. That's fun. Let's do it.
All right. So,
Do you want to reroll?
I don't have XP, and also
No, I'm
I
saying
feel-
like, do you want to reroll?
Oh no.
Okay.
This will be fun. This will be fun.
Okay.
I'm basically full up on things right now, so if I
Okay.
also you guys have superpowers, so
okay. So, you sort of watching. You're unprepared. Even what you just saw, you're unprepared for how quickly and how strong these attacks are coming in. As you see, it reaches out, and you go to sort of into like a standard defense, but the fact is you're not fighting a combat trained opponent, or at least not somebody who is using combat training. So what you're prepared for isn't what comes at you.
and also maybe like this is a person I kind of liked.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I didn't hate you. Ah, damn. Okay,
Yeah,
well,
no,
whatever.
you were cool.
And as you sort of take a step to avoid, it comes at you very quickly, and you compensate reflexively, sort of stepping back onto one of the fallen ones, and you just sort of tumble backwards. The like basically the combination of the force of the hitting you and like you being off balance just knocks you flat. So you would immediately take that is 6 points of might damage.
Is this soaked by armor?
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah.
Okay, so I take 3 points of my damage.
Cool. Yeah,
Ooh.
it's still
It hurts.
it
yeah,
hurts
yeah,
and
it's
it
not-
hits like
but better me than you
yeah.
guys.
it hits like a truck. Like it just catches you like full in the chest as you just go down. And yeah, it's you sort of now kind of tangled up in limbs basically as the creature, like the dead creature on the floor, sort of inhibits your ability to sort of scramble away to a point where you can actually get up.
The worst part is that this is embarrassing because I'm usually really good at balance.
Um,
I'm really annoyed.
Which brings us to Bina.
Okay. Do we? Alma said there were more coming.
Mm-hmm. She said that like less than 2 minutes away.
Yes. Okay. I would like to try to find what's jamming that door. Hypothetically, if it's mechanical, I can get it to close and buy us some time.
Okay.
Because they seem like they've got this under control.
Okay.
And I'll help if I need it later, but I would like to fix this door. I would like to close it.
Okay, this won't be your action, but go ahead and make
I'll have
an
to look.
intellect defense, or not defense, an intellect roll. Yeah, just
Is this like to perceive what's
no,
like to
not this. This is sort of like this is a roll because you're like in the heat of the moment, and this is a role that Bina could. This is sort of a diagnostic thing that Bina could normally do just at a glance.
Mini diagnostic.
Yeah,
Got it.
This is the kind of thing that Bina would normally be able to do at a glance, but there's a lot of stuff happening right now.
Got it. What was the difficulty?
The difficulty on this is going to be 2.
2. Okay. Mechanic.
Yes.
Okay, I do it.
Okay, so just at a glance, everything that you saw happen with that door, while physically, like something physically holding the door is the issue, something mechanical, the actual issue seems to be computers, like the computers that
I
essentially-
locked myself out of.
Yeah, not only that, but even if you could, like, from what you saw, the doors pretty much jammed themselves, in the sense that there's
So like it's currently trying to close, but
not
there's
anymore.
something stopping
no, not
it. Not
anymore.
anymore. Shit.
See,
Okay.
that's the thing. That's the thing that Bina
I see.
would recognize is that if they were still trying to close, then maybe there'd be something that you can do about it. But the fact that they have stopped entirely tells you that the entire mechanism is damaged.
Done.
Yeah,
Got it.
The whole the doors trying to close without the computers releasing them, damaged the whole mechanism.
I see. From my skimming through the system, and I can make this my turn to look for this if you would prefer. Does this like are there like containment, like hull breach shit? Like this is a shuttle bay, so it is exposed to space for parts. If like, is there like a fail safe? What's the word I'm looking for? Like force field style thing that could shut this room off.
Yeah.
From the rest of the station, not physically, but with that kind of a thing. Could I trigger that somehow? If that exists.
It almost certainly does, but again, that's a computer thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is there a way I can trick fool some sensors to make it automatically do it? I don't know. This is
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to get to know the tech that's here because I don't know what Bina can do.
Yeah. It is possible, but in order to do it, you would have to circumvent whatever lockdown is happening, errors included, so it'd be very difficult.
Bad. Okay.
You could do it. It's possible, but it would be very hard. And like normally it would probably be a no-brainer, but like time is sort of a factor here.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if I wasn't, yeah. I'm sorry, guys. Is this like, are they like impending, or do we have like a second before the next wave comes in?
Okay, so it's been like a handful of seconds since Alma told you have minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to Dazzling Radiance the 2 remaining ones using my power shift for the number of targets as opposed to accuracy and damage.
Okay. Then okay, so then this would be an intellect roll, and the difficulty on this would be 3.
Cool. I'm going to spend 2. This will make them not hit you guys. Cool. Get it down to level 1
Okay.
difficulty.
Sounds good.
8.
All right. Yeah.
All right, so that is on both of them. Have the burst of sparkler light around, kind of in their eyes and near their head. They both take 2 damage, and until the end of the next round, so until the end of my next turn, if they try to make an attack on any of you guys, it is distracting and it is reduced by 1.
Yeah. So there's this sudden bright flash around the
She reaches out and goes, "Huh!"
yeah, this bright flash sort of localized around the heads of the 2 that are still standing. That you can see from Desiree being the closest, and Olam actually, the 2 of you being the closest to them, watch as in the wake of the flash, you can see some burn scarring, some scorches on their flesh. And both of them start blinking confusedly, suddenly being looking like they might be a little unclear as to your exact location, as they're sort of seemingly trying to focus on you. Which brings us back to the top. Whoever wants to go, it's on you. Between the 3 of you.
Okay, I will. Right? Sure.
All right. What you got,
Dodging.
Mason?
I'm gonna dodge out of cover. I'm gonna how close? How far up can I? How close am I to the nearest one?
You're within short range of it.
Can I get to it and make an attack?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm going to run up.
Actually,
no.
I think the way that
so,
the Fleet of Foot works is that you have to do the attack first, and then.
I think you make a check to do the movement.
Right.
Isn't that what it is?
Yeah.
Like, if you succeed on a check, you can do the movement, and then you can also do your action.
That's
right.
Right.
Yeah.
That is how it is. That is how it goes down.
Okay, so yeah, you can. So go ahead and this would be. Hold on. What do you know?
It's a difficulty 2 check.
It is okay.
Normally.
Cool. Yeah. Then that's what we're gonna do. So go ahead and make a difficulty 2 speed task.
And your dexterity/speed power shifts will probably help.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think I don't have to.
Oh yeah, you might not have to roll on this one.
Yeah, because I have 2 power shift.
Mm-hmm.
moves.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. So never mind. You
yeah.
you can just do this.
Can I just zip
Hell yeah.
on over
Yeah.
real quick?
Yeah, Mason with superhuman speed just dashes out from behind cover. It's just in a headlong dash towards one of them. Which one? The injured, the more injured of the 2?
I want the more injured of the 2.
Okay.
Because if this doesn't work, it won't look as cool.
All right. What are you doing?
I'm just going. So I'm gonna speed up to it and use my no need for weapons, and I'm gonna plant an elbow right into its face.
Ooh.
Speed up to it.
I
and
forgot you took that.
Yeah.
All right.
So sorry. Now I have to remember what it does. I think you can treat your kick or a fist as a medium or light weapon.
Medium or light, or is it
Light or medium? Blah blah blah. I was just looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's on this page here. No need you can make an unarmed attack such as a punch or a kick. You can choose whether it is considered a medium weapon or a light weapon.
Dope. All right. Which are you
That's
choosing
cool.
then?
I think I'll do medium.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Cool.
It's the elbow.
Go ahead and make the attack. This is I think this one. Is it a? I think this would this be a? I mean melee. I think you choose regardless. So yeah, yeah. Might or speed roll up to you.
They're the same for me
Okay.
either way.
Cool.
Yeah.
Then make
My
a roll
speed,
difficult.
just because it's so
Yeah.
speedy.
Difficulty is 3 on this one.
Okay. And then I will
You're trained in medium weapons?
probably as an explorer.
Yeah, I think we've
like-
talked about
think
you
it's
had
light and medium.
light and medium.
I think so.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that makes
That's
sense.
come into play before.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Reduce it.
So it's a difficulty
asset.
1.
Okay.
Or no, difficulty 2.
1.
No, sorry,
2.
difficulty 2.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Sorry, for some reason I thought you'd
So
reduced it.
6.
Yeah, 6 or better.
I'll do that.
All right.
Here we
Yeah.
go.
Ooh.
Brah! 13 again.
Ooh, nice.
Thank you so much for the raid, Dank Dungeon Delves.
Thanks for the
Welcome.
raid.
Hey.
Okay, sorry. What did you get, Freeman?
13.
13. Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
With that, you just like describe to me how this thing goes down because yeah,
Yeah, I don't move quite as quickly as the Flash, but I move
it's
unnaturally.
like Captain
quick.
America running.
Yeah. And then just like kind of like put the gun like toss the gun to the other hand and
Yeah,
Cool.
just like elbow strike this thing as it just goes down like with your momentum, just goes, whoosh, slides onto the ground, then just starts sliding across the shuttle bay, the deck of the shuttle bay for a little ways, and then comes to a halt. Who's up next? There's one of these things that looks only minor damage has happened.
You
The
want
one
to take?
that hit me, or is it?
It's the
the
one.
other
It's the one that hit you. Yeah.
All right, I'm mad. So go take. I wanna in Cypher, is there like a penalty to attacking while prone, or would I need to like get up? in order
Yeah.
to-
I would give it an increased level of difficulty for that. One step up.
Okay, because I almost want to do a cool windmill thing with my leg so that I can still hit it while prone.
Yeah, you can.
Like I almost wanted, like, I know it's not the smart thing to do,
Yes.
but I think Desiree is just
Do
so
Yeah.
it.
pissed
So
off.
it's the same attack, but the difficulty is 4 now. So it's up to you what you would like to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I will. This seems like a place that I want to spend some stuff. So, for target lock, eye patch, and the medium bladed attacks brings it down to a difficulty 2.
Mhm.
As I said, I'm pissed, so I'm going to spend some might, and I have an edge of 2 in might, so I only spend 1.
All right.
Nice.
All right, so 3 or better if I've done my math correctly.
Yes, that is
An
correct.
18.
Oh yes.
There we go.
Extra
Yes,
damage.
yes,
Yeah,
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
yeah. That's
So
what,
it would normally be.
is that 3 extra damage?
I did not declare this before. Sorry.
Or is it- yeah.
There's also a thing that I could do called a thrust, which is a 1 might point spend,
Mhm.
which just does 1 extra damage.
Okay.
if
So I
that's
think
okay.
if I remember correctly, a 19 is 3 extra damage.
It's an 18.
Oh, 18. I thought you said 19.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Then
18.
2
Is it 2?
2 extra damage.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Yep.
So if you're cool with me saying that,
Yeah.
preemptively,
Absolutely.
sorry, I
That's
should
fine.
have declared that before. But so that would be 4 up to 5, and then from the 18, that's 5 up to 6. Or 7 if you said 2.
What?
2.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7.
So
7. Oh wow, that's exactly how much I had left. So
Nice.
so just go ahead and describe this this amazing feat of violence.
Yeah, so she
Knife
just
feet.
she like plants her hands. She's like puts the cutlass down, like plants her hands, and does the Arya Stark sort of kick spin,
Yeah.
and slices this guy probably just right sort of through his midsection, because that's probably all she can reach.
Yeah.
And as she takes him down with her leg, the stabby leg, she plants him in the ground and uses that to stand up. So she's got stand over him, like spearing him, like sort of 3-point, like
With that, the last of the warped in this room go down, as you all stand just sort of looking around, and you just hear
After like, so Bina goes, okay, and she goes back to try to like fix shit to get us out of here.
yeah. You hear Alma's voice saying, not to rush you, but this might be an excellent time to leave.
Yes.
right.
Do we know if the way they're coming is the same way we have to go to get back to the airlock to our ship?
Alma responds saying,
Or I guess
no, they'd be coming from the opposite direction. They're coming from the opposite
Oh,
direction.
then we could just run.
Let's just run. It's pretty simple.
I
Yeah.
have questions, but we could worry about that later.
Run first, questions later.
Later, yeah.
All right.
One time I agree with this.
You begin booking it down the corridor back to the airlock. At one point, glancing back over the shoulder, you can see as there are a few of them that screaming kind of behind you as they come running down the corridor, chasing down after you. All you can see of them is the glowing green eyes that are coming towards you.
I'm gonna fall a little bit behind everyone else, so that sort of as we're going up the ramp, I can turn around with my what do I have? I've got a wrist cannon, so I can try and pick them off as everyone's sort of getting into the.
Yeah, there are times when a couple of them get a little bold and get a little closer, and you just with a quick shot of the wrist cannon, just it's less of a question of where are they and more of a question of where aren't they, and just with like these small like just almost concussive blasts coming from behind you as you run towards the airlock, reaching it. no sooner does the last one of you cross the threshold than the airlock immediately begins closing slowly and slowly, and you watch
I
as
pull up my shield and just hold it in front just in case.
yeah, you watch as the first few of them round the corner to the airlock and see you, and just with a single shriek, like start come barreling down the corridor, and then just at the last second it just closes, and you hear the muffled on the other side as they impact against the other side of the airlock door. As you rush back into Awakener.
Oh, I thought we were in.
No, this well, yeah, you the airlock door that closed was the one to the station, but as you
Okay.
are, but then the airlock door then has to open, but
Mm-hmm.
on your side. So making your way back into the ship, you you step inside, and Alma is already standing there, waiting for you as she says, "What was that?"
Oh, that's right. You weren't awake yet.
You should get out of there and then
Mhm.
answer that question because I also have it.
Jade's cycling the takeoff
Okay.
procedures. Is everybody okay? She sort of looks at all of you, sort of making sure
Yeah.
that like no obvious injuries. She sort of relaxes just a little bit
The
as you.
captain has a little bit,
Yeah,
right?
I take
Yeah.
take my jacket and I just kind of like press it to my shoulder that I got scratched on. I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
She says Abriel should take a look at that.
Mhm.
You feel as that jolt as the ship detaches from the airlock, and you can feel the very slight. Oops, what is playing? Hold on, that's what's supposed to be playing. You as the you can feel that slight the very slight increase in G forces as the ship begins to move before the everything, like the ship starts compensating for them.
Mhm.
And as you move away, now fully for the first time able to relax, you all sort of settle in the common area.
Dang, if the warp weren't there, it would have been nice to grab some supplies, provisions, steal from pirates.
Yeah, it's Cypher.
How cool would
You're,
that
you're
have been?
stole from pirates.
We
Oh,
did
sorry.
steal
Are
from
you
pirates.
saying this in character?
Yeah.
You did. You have stolen from pirates.
We have stolen from pirates. That's pretty cool.
What you say? The what? Warped?
Warped. Yeah, so I guess I don't know why I didn't really make that connection earlier, but that thing that you guys were carrying does that to people. How long did you have it?
You probably had it in your possession for maybe just shy of a month.
Oh, wow.
I was
Okay.
looking for a buyer for about a month, but it's been just a couple
Oh.
more. So, are you telling me that if they hadn't mutinied, I'd be like that?
Probably, yeah, unfortunately. Unless some of them have moved. I don't know. I don't know what that means for your ship.
I mean, I was gonna say, Lash sounded fine, unless those things can talk.
It was a day ago. No, I mean, we haven't ever heard them.
As far as we know yet.
Unless they've found better containment for it.
Maybe the artifact's still on the station.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought about that.
I'm trying to figure out whether that message that we heard makes it clear that where it is. I'm not sure it does, but if the warped are here and the people on the ship seemed fine one day ago, then we might have to go back in there.
One thing that Desiree would know is that if the crew is operating business as usual, which it sort of seems from what you've seen so far that they are, if they were planning to meet somebody for a drop, they would have kept whatever or not for a drop, for a handoff. They would have kept whatever it was, regardless of the cargo. They would have kept it closer to the majority of them.
It's probably still on the siren.
Oh, your ship.
So either they have got a better way. It was contained and then became uncontained for an amount of time that let some of them turn. I don't know, and it's contained again now. Or the warp turning happened about 24 hours ago.
I
And
swear,
after that message was sent,
if this thing robbed me of my chance to murder my entire crew, I'm going to be so pissed.
I mean, they're still upright.
It's not them though, right? This wasn't.
At this point,
It's not them.
right at this point, Abriel enters with Patch right behind. You see, Desiree, you would see an Anzalonian woman, probably probably in her maybe 3rd century or so, and dressed in torn, like ripped sleeve medical coat, underneath of which she's wearing like just sort of a kind of turtleneck looking thing, and she carrying a med kit, and behind her a Voxora,
Which are not common, right?
Not-
That, like,
no, I
not
mean,
seen any of
you-
these things before.
I mean, you've probably seen them, but mostly they'd like to keep to themselves, and they are pretty.
They don't really hang out with organics.
Yeah, they're pretty
Yeah.
rare. You might have had cause to deal with them on occasion, but yeah. Abriel steps over and she says, "I heard that somebody was injured, and this is my shocked face."
It wasn't one of the
She,
normal ones.
She looks over and sees you, says,
I mean, it's just a scratch, but it's you patching me up.
she just sort of, she looks, she's like, she glances over to Patch and says, "Too late to go back to my cell?" And Patch says, "Yes, it is. Your medical services are required." She says, "Okay." And she steps over and she says, she takes the wadded up coat from the wound. She says, "Okay." She just sort of like starts like looking at it and sort of applying, like cleaning it, and then starting to apply nanogel.
So we don't need to go somewhere else, somewhere more private.
She says, "Oh, trust me, privacy's hard to come by on this ship."
Oh.
While she's kind of doing her business on the shoulder, she's Venus can be like, "It's probably good that you're here, anyways. We just found more warped."
You, Desiree, you can, as you feel her sort of like cleaning the wound, you feel her stop and then continue. As she kind of glances over, she says, "Warped here?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess when I heard we were chasing down an artifact, I thought it'd be a possibility. She basically goes through asking like the procedural questions, like the how long was the exposure, how long, all this sort of stuff. She says, "In all of my time studying the effects of these artifacts on people, we never had a. I mean, a month seems right about the right time. Transformations tend not to happen overnight. They're gradual, a gradual ramp up of symptoms. Headaches, bizarre dreams, dizziness, uncommon aggression, things like that."
That could have had something to do with the mutiny,
Huh.
or at least added to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
She says, "Chances are, if they were sapient enough to send a message yesterday, then they're probably still okay. Well, they're not like those in there. It's possible that these were exposed more or more frequently. Because one of the things I noted is that certainly proximity to the and regular interaction with the artifact has an effect on how quickly these things happen. So
Their cure?
we don't know. Although a bunch of orbital lasers to the surface of a planet seem to do the trick."
I mean, a cutlass also seemed to sort of do that.
Well, there you go. There's a cure.
Yeah.
She finishes applying the nanogel and she says, "All right, you're all patched up." And she says, "Are we done here?" And Patch turns and says, "I shall escort you." and then turns back to you, Desiree. Says, "My name is Patch."
Captain Desiree, it's a pleasure to meet you.
They don't say another word. They just turn and follow Abriel out of the room.
No, it's not a priority, but what's the deal?
Which one?
This is a great question. I feel like we should start with you, but I'm that doctor.
Alma just rolls her eyes and just starts walking over to like adjust some things that basically like fell over, basically like making herself busy essentially.
Are we in FTL now on the way to the
Jade take us in, or
Nope, you're still just
Okay.
sort of currently just in real space, just sort of nearby. Just
I
coasting.
kind of want to see how far that next point is as far as travel goes.
Yeah. Here you can easily pull up a wall console and just start plugging in
Looking.
the coordinates. Yeah. You can see that the coordinates lead to a planet not actually that far away, maybe less than a day's travel through
Okay.
FTL. Probably about maybe 8 hours in total. And as you're looking at the coordinates and the map gets pulled up, Desiree, you actually recognize the planet, as do you, Mason. The planet is one that is well known as it's a lush jungle of a world. The planet itself does not have a proper name, or rather, it has many proper names. It depends on who you ask. But it is a bunch of lush jungles and coast, like wild coastlines. But in the midst of one of the continents, in the middle of one of the continents, there is an enormous jungle valley, in the center of which sits a massive city that is pretty much exclusively a hideout for outlaws, pirates, smugglers, just the worst of the worst.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it is a city that has grown in scope from a small settlement, from like a small, like a little hut about 100 years ago, now to a just sprawling patchwork metropolis.
Oh, look, they've grown.
The coordinates specifically, by the way, they get more specific than that, as there are encoded within the coordinates a specific location to a warehouse on the southern side of the city.
Is that location familiar to me at all? Like,
No.
do I know? No, we've never been there before, right?
I mean, the specific warehouse, no.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, the vicinity, yes. It's a place where that's often used for, well, this purpose.
Mhm.
Often used for black market, back alley trade and deals, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but not like someone I would recognize, like someone
No,
signed up that I would
no.
recognize. Okay. I mean, wherever they're going, it's to meet someone familiar. It's a new place, new hideout, but going to the jungle's fun. Always a time.
At least we
Yeah,
have coordinates.
Alma stands up. She says, "I'll let Jade know to lay in a course."
Okay.
Yeah.
As she walks past you, Alma, Bina, she just like squeezes your shoulder and just sort of keeps moving back towards the cockpit.
As she walks up to the cockpit, I turn to Captain Desiree. I'm like, all right, I think we finally have some time to fill you in about a lot of things.
A lot of things, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I did snag a single bottle of rum from the glove compartment, so I'm just going to take that out. I'm going to drink while you all talk.
All right, and that is where we're going to pick up next week.
Yes.
So
We exposit.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we went a little bit longer than we normally do, but it was needed to get through
We
to
got
that point.
Lily here.
Yeah, we got Lily. So, Lily, you will be joining us again next week.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. I am very excited.
Excited too.
Well, first of all, thank you everybody for hanging out with us enjoying our adventures with us. Well, I hope you enjoyed them. And
Thanks for the raid.
yeah, thanks so
Yeah,
much for the raid.
nice
Thanks,
to
Dungeon Delve.
see you again.
Yeah, good to see you.
And to everyone who stuck around.
Yeah,
Hi.
hello.
Awesome.
So we, I'll start with my little like programming announcement. So the first and foremost, we have Ramblemancy this week at 7 p.m. Pacific, our talk show where we just sort of talk about a variety of nerdy topics. We do not have a topic for that just yet, but we will get one to you ASAP. So you will know beforehand. Let's see. What else? We haven't talked about yet whether we're going to do a video game stream this weekend or not. Stay tuned for that. We still have to talk about that a little bit, but
Follow the socials.
yeah, follow the socials. So you can find us on Twitter, which is a good place to get some of that information, as well as Discord. Those are like the top two places to follow what's happening, schedule, and those things the Twitter you can find just by scrolling down or just by typing it. It's on the screen. It's on the somewhere on this overlay around here, down there some. It's hold on. It's down there. It's over there in that corner. All right. So, let's see. Yeah. So that's the best way of keeping up to date with everything that's happening. So, and then as for the Discord, you can find that here if you're not already a member. That's not how you spell Discord. It is a good place to just get a bunch of information as well as chat with everybody if you're not already a member. It's a good way to go.
We miss you, Olivia. I hope you feel better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, everybody, send good vibes out to Olivia. Henry, if you wouldn't mind taking us out.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Lucas already mentioned a few places that you can stay in touch with us, see what we're working on, but we also have a little coffee if you want to support the stream. Thank you so much for doing so. We're just happy that you're here, and if you want to like, subscribe, retweet, stuff like that, that is also a fantastic help to us. But we're just so happy that people are enjoying these stories with us. We also have a Patreon where we frequently release little bits of TTRPG and media-related content, some of which is related directly to our current TTRPG shows. What else do we have? Oh, yeah. You can watch Infinite Horizon on YouTube, or you can listen to it in podcast form on a bunch of different platforms through Anchor. I believe we mentioned before we have a little merch store. Oh, no, I don't have my mug. Pretend I'm holding a mug that says Rule of Lore on it. Yeah, and these awesome Infinite Horizon shirts are there. And like Luke said, Discord is a great place to hang out, talk about whatever the heck you want. Just to be clear, if you are a Twitch subscriber, you will get some of the same rewards as Patreon patrons via the Discord. So check the Discord out, especially if you are a subscriber here on Twitch.
Yeah, lots of good stuff for you there. I actually also want to before we go out, I want to shout out our World Builder patrons, because we had an amazing writers' room meeting last night with our world builders, and we did some cool shit, like so much cool stuff. I'm so excited. We had a bunch of folks who hadn't been there before, and they brought some amazing ideas and that I was so happy to see realized, and I'm very excited to bring them into game.
Spice up the writer's room. We love to have you.
Yeah, it's very cool. So, yeah, I think that's everything.
I think so. It always feels like I'm forgetting.
I know.
We just don't want to say goodbye. We just
it's
want
exactly
to...
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thanks for spending your evening with our space adventures. We'll see you, hopefully for Ramblemancy, but if not, we'll see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night, everybody. Good night and good zone.
Good night.